We've got it cold and blustery here at Soldier Field, where we have another sellout. The Vikings and the Bears. Just 2 weeks ago, Minnesota had a 2-game lead in the NFC Central, but look at it now. A 3-way tie. The Vikings have to win today, of course, and Chicago acting in a spoiler role. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, along with Johnny Morris, and of course, you know the Vikings like to throw. Tommy Kramer's their man, but he's been in a slump lately, John.
Yes, he has, Dick. He has 9 interceptions in the past 2 games, and he's got to get out of that slump if the Vikings are to win, because they only ran the ball 11 times last week. They depend on the pass, and that's what Tommy Kramer's got to do.
Now, of course, the Bears are acting to try to upset the apple cart, and Walter Payton had a marvelous game, 179 yards Thanksgiving Day, and he has done well against the Vikes in the past.
Yes, he averages over 5 yards for his career, and when you stop to think that he has gained 1,378 yards against the Minnesota Vikings alone, you know he can run that ball on this team. Ironically, he got 179 yards, as you said, Dick, last week against the Cowboys. But the Bears, he ran all over the place. The Bears scored only 9 points and lost the game. The Bears have got to be able to throw the ball if they're going to beat the Minnesota Vikings today.
All right, and we're ready for the kickoff. The Chicago Bears have won the toss. They will receive, and you're looking at Emory Moorhead, number 43, originally with the Giants, went to Denver, and he is at the goal line. Rick Danmeyer kicking off for the white-shirted Minnesota Vikings, and the ball blows off the tee. So we told you it was blustery, and we just proved it there. 39 degrees as we start the game, but the wind 17 miles per hour, and that gives you a wind chill of 17 to 20 degrees. But both of these clubs are used to that. So Danmeyer cannot do it. We may never get this game underway.
I mean, from the south, so the wind will be going with the Vikings during this first quarter if we ever get the game going.
Want to keep you in mind that the Minnesota Vikings need some help if they're to capture this division title. Tampa Bay can win 3 and do it. Guess what happened again? Detroit can win 3 and do it, but the Vikings will need a loss by Tampa Bay, even if they win 3 games, in order to win the NFC title. Now, they're going to have to glue that down.
Yeah, they're going to have somebody hold the ball. They're going to try it one more time, I guess. And if not, they'll have to have one of the Lion players, I should say Viking players, hold the ball.
You know, you talk about that. The scoreboard had the Bears playing the Lions before the game.
I think that's where I got that. I looked up there and it said Bears-Lions.
There you see the wind right there. And it's not so much the flags on top, but the fact that the goalposts are really swaying. And everyone's getting a little antsy right now. Henry Johnson, a linebacker, is looking over to the bench, and they may be forced to hold. Let's see what happens. It looks steady right now. Vikings lead the series 23-16 with 2 ties, and we are underway. And Emory Moorhead, a yard in the end zone, brings it out. And Moorhead gets beyond the 25-yard line. As we started off, the Chicago Bears go on offense. The quarterback is Vince Evans, who has struggled so far in the latter part of this season. Evans has 6 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. Payton, of course, is marvelous. Ricky Watson, Brian Bashnagel are the receivers. Robin Earl starts at tight end, and the offensive line featuring a rookie, Keith Van Horn, at right tackle. So it's 1st and 10 at the 24-yard line for the Bears, whose problems lately have been on offense, all season, in fact. We'll check the Vikings defensively in a moment. One back. Actually, it's the tailback, Payton, who goes up the middle, and Scott Studwell, among others, makes the stop. The defense for the Minnesota Vikings. Mark Mullaney had a sprained ankle, but he is in the starting lineup as the Vikes now use a 3-4. Mullaney, White, and Holloway up front. The strong part of this club on defense, the linebackers, with Matt Blair and Fred McNeil outside. And in the secondary, Turner and Teal at the corners, Knopf and Tommy Hannon. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6 at the 28. Ken Marjoram, number 89, is in there now, and he is in motion toward the line. Marjoram just went by. 2nd down, a draw play, Walter Payton. And Payton's not going to make the first down. Scott Studwell stops him from getting just about anything as Bashnagel comes back in the game. So Payton has had some good days against Minnesota, but this season in the first game, not so much.
He only gained 39 yards against Minnesota the first time out this year, but by and large, he does rush well, and they ran the draw play that time. Sometimes it's a little tough to run the draw if you haven't thrown a pass yet.
3 wide receivers as Marjoram is in there, and actually Walter Payton is used as a wide receiver in a formation I don't think the Bears have used much this year, if at all.
He's open across the middle.
And Evans' pass is almost intercepted on 3rd and 5. And the crowd lets Evans know they're not appreciating it. Tommy Hannon was the only one close to the ball.
And there was Payton was out in the slot, and he came down and went across the middle, and it was wide open. I think Evans was trying to hit him high, but a new formation for the Bears as they had 3 men to one side, and Payton was one of the wide receivers.
So it'll be 4th down, and Bob Parsons will kick from the 5-yard line. There is Parsons, who leads the NFC in kicks inside the 20. 24 times, and of course he had a marvelous day against Dallas. Eddie Payton is deep, and a kick off the side takes a bounce, and Payton on the run. Vikings will have ideal field position as Eddie takes it to the 49-yard line of Chicago, where Emery Moorhead came up to make the play.
Good heads-up play by Eddie Payton. He got the ball on the run. It's a little dangerous, but he was able to get an extra 8 or 10 yards out of it just by being aggressive on the punt return. He almost broke it.
Payton, the older brother. Eddie, the older brother of Walter, and one of the leaders in the NFC in kickoff returns. So the Vikings have the ball at the Bears 49, 1st and 10. The quarterback is Tommy Kramer, trying to right himself. The running backs, Ricky Young and Ted Brown. Play action pass. Kramer going to the air, and he hits Sammy White for a 1st down at the 32-yard line. Gary Fensick makes the tackle, so Sammy White was wide open to make the play.
Right off the play action, White down across the field, goes inside of Fensick, and Fensick stumbled on the play, and it was just for Kramer to turn around and hit Sammy White on the go, and it's a 1st down for Minnesota down to the 31-yard line already on their 1st possession.
18-yard pickup to Sammy White, who caught 6 passes last week in the loss to Green Bay. 1st and 10 at the 32. We'll give you the rest of the Vikings offense in a moment. Ted Brown. Good second effort as he finds his way to the 25-yard line. Brian Cabral, number 54, along with Singletary, makes the stop. So there's the Vikings offense. And it's really many times a one-back offense with Ted Brown, all-purpose. Joe Sensor having a great year. And the offensive line, Riley Huff, Swilly, Hamilton, and the veteran Ron Yeri. Gain of 5, 2nd and 5 at the 26.
And what a difference it can make for a tight end to have great wide receivers. Sensor's been catching the ball like mad.
Well, they normally double the outside men, so a lot of people are free. Quick pass out to Rashad. Good enough for the 1st down. At the 19, Reuben Henderson was with him. So that's what Tommy Kramer does so well. Hits the open man and hits him in a hurry. The Chicago Bears defensively with Hampton and Harris. We'll be looking a lot at Alan Page, the 15-year veteran playing against his former team, the Vikings, for the last time this afternoon. Cabral at left linebacker replaces Otis Wilson. Singletary's looked good lately, and the secondary with the rookie Henderson looking awfully good. So it's 1st and 10. Vikes are moving. They're on the Bears 19. And the pitch to Ted Brown. And Brown out of bounds. Ricky Young could not make the block for Ted Brown, and therefore he was hampered, and the tackle was made by Terry Schmidt. And a good play by Gary Campbell. He's the one that busted up that play because, as you said, Ricky Young was not able to make that block. So obviously the Vikings are into a passing situation, and to guess to which one he's going to hit, everybody's caught a bundle of passes on this Minnesota Viking team. You've got Sensor, you got Brown, who has 77 grabs out of the backfield. And, of course, you got Rashad and White and everybody else on this football team that catches passes. But one thing you can count on, they're going to throw the ball. That's for sure. They've got a lot of people to throw to. As Terry LeCount, number 80, comes in the game, and he is split wide to the right. LeCount with 21 catches. Play action. Kramer turns it around. Ted Brown. And stopped. Good pursuit and alert play by Gary Fensick and Mike Singletary, and you're looking at 2 of the best hitters on the Chicago Bear team foiled the Vikings there.
There's number 50 Singletary, and he comes right through, and you're going to see Ron Yeri, 73, gets out there in the screen and misses the block, and there's Singletary comes from behind, and it's Singletary and Gary Fensick who get in on the tackle, but good aggressive play by the middle linebacker. You got to be able to go from sideline to sideline.
It is 3rd and 13 at the 22-yard line, and the Bears come in with their 6 defensive backs as Jeff Fisher and Todd Bell come in the ball game. So this is the 4-1-6 defense that they like to use, and you'll see the Vikes use a lot of it too. 3 wide receivers, 2, and a slot man to the right here as they flood the right side, and Kramer loses the ball. It's a fumble. covered. And did they come in? And that's one thing they told you they might do. Blitz more from the outside in this game, and it pays off.
You're going to see Doug Plank comes from the extreme far outside, way late, along with Al Harris, number 90, hits him first. And there's 46, Doug Plank, the safety blitz. He gets in on the ball. Everybody had a hold of it. Finally, I believe it was Plank who got the ball. This stops Minnesota's first drive, Chicago Bears ball. But they brought everybody but the kitchen sink on that one, didn't they?
I even saw the kitchen sink, as a matter of fact, in there. So the Vikings are thwarted. We have a 1st and 10 at the 29 for the Chicago Bears when we come back to Soldier Field in a moment.
Here's to good friends.
Has said the Bears don't hit, John.
There it is. Al Harris was the man that got there first, and he really clumped him, and there was Plank on the blitz to get to the ball first, along with Jeff Fisher, Chicago's ball.
And the Bears will have it at the 29. Last week, the Vikings did not fumble against the Packers, and that was only the first time this year that the Vikings did not fumble. As you look at the ratio of takeaways and turnovers of the two teams. 1st and 10 at the 29 for the Bears. First quarter, no score. Watson, Marjoram, the receivers, and up the middle. Fred McNeil making the tackle on Matt Suey, who found a good hole up the middle. Do you think that the Bears, well, everyone says they've got to throw, may show, pass, and run a little bit more than is expected?
Well, they're always going to run a lot when you have Walter Payton on the football team, but there's got to be a mixture. And just as an example, as I mentioned last week against the Cowboys, the Bears ran all over the place, could only get 9 points, and wound up losing the football game. You got to develop a passing attack sooner or later. 2nd
and 1 at the 38-yard line. Bashnagel, 84. They haven't thrown to him much, and a lot of people are wondering why. Suey has enough for the first down as he gets to the 41-yard line, and Randy Holloway, the defensive right end, makes the tackle. The Vikings have 4 #1 draft choices up front. They're using the 3-4 right now. Mark Mullaney, Doug Martin, James White, and Randy Holloway. Holloway had lost his job and then regained it, beating out Doug Martin, but the Vikes are not that happy with the progress of 4 people that should be better for #1 draft.
The Bears are operating against a strong wind.
1st and 10 at the 41 for the Bears. Suey tries to cut inside and does successfully, has a first down. He got through a lot of white shirts and gets past midfield, and another first down. So the Bears effectively running inside. Fred McNeil, the tackle.
Let's take a look at Ted Albrecht, the right tackle. He threw a key block there as he got around inside the horn, and then it was just heads-up play by Matt Suey. Got through the hole, kept himself going, and got a few yards. McNeil finally on the tackle. The Bears are in Minnesota territory.
Roland Harper, number 35, comes in the game right now. So does Marcus Anderson. Number 88, the great rookie who had such a superb game against the Lions, got hurt and hasn't really played since. 1st and 10 at the 48. Payton bounces off one tackler, but he can't get away from Jeff Seaman. Jeff Seaman, who perhaps has had his career extended as we look at Payton going back because of the 3-4 alignment. But Waller takes a lot of punishment and comes back for more, and he dishes out some too. Good linebacking core for this ball club.
And look at this. The Rams have taken the lead over the Giants, 7-0 first quarter score.
A lot of games today, and as we get down to the crunch, keep you informed on what it means for the playoffs. 2nd and 6 at the 44. Payton outside. Tripped up from behind, dives forward, and is close to a first down. Well, Walter Payton, John Turner was the one who made the play. Mark Mullaney came up from behind, and they're going to have maybe a measurement here as the Bears are very close to a first down. It'll be 3rd and short yardage.
That time they ran Payton not from the eye, but notice how his shoulders are squared away from the line of scrimmage. He's not as effective on his cutbacks, so he always has a tendency to go for the sidelines rather than cutting back because his vision is not as good. He loves to perform from the I formation a lot more than running those end runs from the regular left or right halfback spot.
Manuel Zanders, a good block on Tommy Hannon, turned him inside out. 3rd and 1, short yardage now. 2 tight ends in there for the Bears. Payton with a juke and a dive and a first down at the 37-yard line. So this may be the crispest we've seen the Bears on offense, and they really haven't thrown the ball.
Okay, here's a good look at Payton on the upright position from the I formation. He follows Matt Suey, then looks for the hole, puts his head down, gets the first down. He runs beautifully from the I.
The Bears have brought in Brooks Williams, number 83, formerly of New Orleans. He caught 2 passes against Dallas Thanksgiving Day, and he's a pretty good receiver. We'll watch him. 1st and 10 at the 37. Marjoram and Watts are the outside men. Play action pass. Evans in trouble. Won't go anywhere. Mark Mullaney got him from behind. So the offensive line could not keep the Vikings out of there, and there'll be a loss on the play.
Fred McNeil came in that time and put some extra pressure on. The Vikings haven't been getting all that great a pass rush over the past few games. They really basically rush with the 3. They usually have to have some kind of a blitz to get the pressure on. That time, McNeil came, and that caused Evans to get in trouble in the pocket.
Vince Evans, whose best day was against the Vikings earlier this year with 2 touchdown passes to Baschnagel, who's in there now. 2nd and 14 at the 41-yard line. And the pass is going for Ricky Watts. He's double covered, and it's almost intercepted, and maybe it is. It is. The Vikings have picked it off. Willie Teal, the second-year man from LSU, who was injured all last year, and good double coverage by the Minnesota Vikings on the pass intended for Watts.
Okay, let's take a look at Evans on the partial rollout. It was an ill-advised pass because you could tell that he was pretty much double coverage, and as the farther he ran across the field, the more he was running into the coverage, and the Vikings just had it covered very well. As you see, Knopf and Willie Teal gets that ball before it hits the turf, gets up, and it's Minnesota's ball.
So Willie Teal now with 4 interceptions to take over the club leadership in that department. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Chicago Bears and the National Football League is prohibited. Someone asked Bud Grant if he has any sympathy for his former assistant Neil Armstrong going through a rough year. He said, look, I can't worry about that because the Bears can come up and beat you anytime.
That's right.
1st and 10 at the 5-yard line for the Vikings. Ted Brown finds a hole and carries a few Bears to the 15 and a 1st down. Gary Campbell had a hand on him. David Huffman, number 56, plays tight end sometime. Here he is.
He's on the backside, and he's got a little contact with Al Harris. And actually, the Vikings did a pretty good job down there in tough yardage situation as Brown just busted his way through and got himself a 1st down.
So we're seeing a lot of running so far, up the middle particularly. 1st and 10 at the 16. Interesting story about David Huffman, who's playing after what could have been a real tragic injury 3 weeks ago. Outside, Brown cutting inside. He knocked his own man out of the way. Steve Riley got a jolt. Al Harris makes the tackle. Ted Brown, who was trying to be the 4th player in the league to gain 2,000 yards rushing and passing, slowed up last week in the rushing department, but Brown nonetheless coming into this game needs 46 yards to go over the 1,000 mark.
And I think Chuck Foreman was I was looking at the stats, is the only Viking ever to rush for 1,000 yards in a season. I found that hard to believe. I always thought Bill Brown did it all the time. There's Washington 6-0 over Philadelphia.
2nd and 6 at the 20. Brown just to the 20, and that's all. Foreman went over the 1,000 mark 3 times for the Minnesota Vikings. And Brown, of course, coming closer and closer. Last week, as John Morris pointed out, fewest rushes, 11 carries, 28 yards, and that was the rushing story for Minnesota.
And, you know, they talk about the bad game that Kramer had last week. He did have all those interceptions, but he completed 38 passes out of 55. That's not too bad. That ties his record for completions in a game.
His best year was against San Diego. Todd Bell is in there as a 5th back, and no way. Ted Brown trying to salvage something here, and does as he gets back to the line of scrimmage. Alan Page makes the tackle, and Al Harris was looking him straight in the eye, and before you knew it, Ted Brown reversed his field and managed to prevent a loss.
Here's Al Harris. He's right down here at the bottom of your screen. Nobody blocks him because Ricky Young comes to throw the block. He hits too low, so Harris is the one who gets the clamps on him along with Jim Osborne. And how Brown got out of this, I'll never know. It looked like his forward progress had really been stopped, and he was able to get back almost to the line of scrimmage before he was brought down.
And Alan Page, who has a law degree, passed the bar in Minnesota. Greg Coleman will punt for the Vikings inside his 10. He's averaging nearly 42 yards a kick. Jeff Fisher is deep for the Vikings, or for the Bears.
Line drive.
Fisher coming up, has it on the 38-yard line. Being pursued, and Fisher is out of bounds just short of midfield. And in fact, we will call it midfield. So Jeff Fisher from Southern California, the 7th-round draft choice, who earlier this year returned 188 yards against Tampa Bay, gives the Bears good field position. How will they do with it? Come back and see. In the 9 years Neil Armstrong was an assistant to Bud Grant in Minnesota's defensive coordinator, Minnesota won the NFC Central all but 1 year. That was in 1972, but Armstrong has other things on his mind now, as the Bears have it at midfield, 1st and 10, with 4:17 remaining, no score in the first quarter. Matsui gets a couple of yards. The Bears feel that they need about 45, 46 yards from Matsui to take some of the heat off of Peyton.
Vince Evans, there you see his statistics. The last time he played Minnesota, that was perhaps his best game of the year. Vince Evans has not had a good year, and so far today has not done that much as far as the passing game is concerned. But that's a big question mark for the Bears now, the quarterback situation.
San Francisco having clinched the NFC West, leading Cincinnati. Ken Marjoram is in the ball game at wide receiver, 2nd and 7 at the 47-yard line. Walter Payton breaking the tackle, has a first down to the 35-yard line. Quick opener, and Walter Payton took advantage of it, and Willie Teal, the cornerback, makes the stop. And these cold Bear fans so far are enjoying what they see.
Okay, little draw play with Payton. Watch the right side. Number 65, Noah Jackson, with a fantastic block as Payton gets through the hole. And finally, Willie Teal brings him down as Matsui also threw a good block. They run the draw. And so far, all they're doing is running the ball, mostly.
And Payton mostly, 30 yards. The Bears have rushed 9 times, passed 2, and one of those intercepted. 1st and 10 at the 35. Walter Payton up the middle. So both clubs are trying to establish the running game, and running game up the middle as Jeff Seaman makes the stop.
And the Bears may stick with it, but you know Jerry Burns with Minnesota, he likes to run for a while, but then he gets kind of tired of it, gets kind of bored. He says, let's throw that ball. And you know that Tommy Kramer is going to be filling the air with footballs before this game is over.
New England leading Miami 7-0 in the first quarter. New England has not won in Miami for a long, long time. Doug Martin comes in at defensive end. And a 4-man front, 2nd and 7 at the 32. Payton inside again. Picks up a few yards. He's short of a first down by about 2. Matt Blair and Duck White make the stop. Duck White, number 72, has been perhaps the most consistent man at the front line on defense for Minnesota. 2 tight ends coming in the game now for the Bears, as New Orleans leading St. Louis 3-0 in the first quarter. Mike Cobb and Robin Earl are in there now. When Brooks Williams comes in, you know that it's a possible pass receiver. 3rd and 2 at the 27, 1:42, and Williams is in the wing back, first down, Walter Payton off the right side. So the Bears have punished Minnesota inside, and then they send Payton outside. Blair makes the tackle, but not before the Chicago Bears have a first down at the 22-yard line.
And you could tell that was going to be a first down because the left side of the Vikings defensive line just caved, and Payton, you could tell it was just a question of when he was going to turn up. Good blocking by the right side of the Bears offensive line as they're just trying to control the ball, eat up the clock, and keep this game close and hope for a break at the end. That appears to be the strategy as it was last week against the Dallas Cowboys.
Vikings in the 3-4 defense, 1st and 10 at the 23. Suey doesn't get much trying to go outside. Maybe a yard, and that's all.
Let's see how those Bears block. You're going to see the right side of the line. There's Mark Mulaney, number 77, bouncing off the block by Van Horn, and he eventually gets into the tackle as Matt Blair, number 59. Van Horn, a rookie out of the University of Southern California, one of 2 rookies starting at an offensive tackle position.
2nd and 9 at the 22-yard line. Marjoram is in there with Ricky Watts as the outside receivers. Suey and Payton, and Walter Payton with Suey trying to block. And Payton outside is not going anywhere. Gets to about the 21-yard line, and good pursuit by Fred McNeil. So it'll be 3rd down now for the Bears in what would be a passing situation. We have had 1 fumble in the game. Tommy Kramer was hit hard on a blitz, fumbled on the first possession for the Vikings. And Willie Teal intercepted a pass by Vince Evans. So we've had a couple of turnovers, but no points on the board. And that's the end of the first quarter with the score. Bears nothing, Vikings nothing. Against the Detroit Lions, and that is going to tell a big tale as far as the NFC Central next Saturday, 2:30 Central Time. All begins with the NFL today. Enough said. The Vikings and Lions, a big one for both teams. 2 of the 3 clubs tied for first, 7-6 records in the NFC Central Division. So we start the second quarter as Bashnagel goes wide to the left. This is Nick Stockton along with Johnny Morris. No score, and 3 wide receivers to the left. And 1 to the outside. And Evans going up the middle. Nowhere near a receiver. And I think they ran a pattern that wasn't right. Kurt Knopf was the only man there.
He was throwing to Payton, who was out as a wide receiver in the slot. You're going to see Payton coming across the middle of the field. Look at the middle of your screen. He's wide open. And he overthrows him, and just behind him, and almost intercepted. Vince Evans is just having trouble hitting his receivers. He's had trouble all season long.
So it is 4th down, and John Rovetto, who missed an important extra point last week. It'll be a 38-yard attempt. And a fake, a shuffle pass, and here's Al Harris. He's going for the touchdown. Short of the goal line on a shuffle pass.
The Bears surprise the Minnesota Vikings, something the Vikings usually do to the Chicago Bears. A trick play. As you see, Brian Bashnagel takes the hand, pitches it to Al Harris, number 9, and Harris thought he had a touchdown. He lifts those legs, romps and the stumps, and Keith Nord is on the chase and just gets the shoestring tackle, but the Bears are threatening the Minnesota Vikings. How about that? The Chicago Bears come up with a real surprise. Al Harris almost had a touchdown.
I saw the New Orleans Saints work it to success against the Browns earlier this year. 1st and goal at the 3. Harris caught from behind. Walter Payton trying to follow blockers is hit hard. And what a hit is put on him by Matt Blair, the linebacker. And that was star against star and good punishment inside. But they're still buzzing here at Soldier Field over that thing.
Well, you're really right about Payton taking a shot from Blair that time, because he had been stopped, had turned up the field, and he was exposed, and Matt Blair gave him all he had. Walter Payton takes a lot of punishments, playing in about his 95th consecutive game start.
2nd and goal at the 2. Bashnagel is wing back right. Payton hit at the line of scrimmage, and the guy that made that play was Randy Holloway. First man to hit him, that slowed up Payton. So now it is 3rd, and so the Bears can't really get too conservative even this close to the goal line, John.
That's right, and Holloway got across, penetrated on that kind of a play. There's no way a defensive lineman should penetrate before the ball carrier can even approach the line of scrimmage. Now, will they do what they can do best with Vince Evans? Give him an option of a way to go, a partial rollout or something like that. They're going to call timeout to find out, decide what they're going to do as Vince Evans comes off the field to talk to Neil Armstrong.
A lot of people, of course, are unhappy with the timeout, but you don't know how many chances you're going to get to score in this game, especially if you're the Bears, and they have a great chance, so they've got to talk it over. We'll be back.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way. And by Lowenbrau. When it's time for the taste of a truly great beer, let it be Lowenbrau.
Vince Evans is 0 for 3 with 1 interception. We have 3rd and goal at the 2. Willie McClendon, number 37, replaces Walter Payton, who really took a hit. And there are 2 tight ends in there as well. And Watts is a wing to the left. 3rd and goal at the 2-yard line following a Bears timeout. Rolling out is Evans. He stumbles and he's down at the 16-yard line. He was chased by Doug Martin, among other people, and Dennis Johnson, number 52, a linebacker. That one fizzled.
Yes, it did. They faked inside, went to the rollout as McClendon was in for Payton, and look at the penetration there to force Evans back, and he slips, and there's Doug Martin to put the clamps on Vince Evans. The play goes kaput. The Bears will be forced to go for the field goal, and Payton was not in there. I wonder if he got hurt on that hit on the tackle on the play before.
He has a bruised thigh. He also injured his thigh in the Kansas City game. This is a 34-yard attempt. Baschnagel holding for Rivetto. No fake this time, and the kick is no good. It hits the upright and bounces off to the right. So the Bears' bad luck continues here. They have played the Vikings tough, but they did not get on the board.
Here's the kick by Rivetto. You can see it for yourself. The picture tells you the story. Up against the post and back.
Dear Santa, all I want.
It's been basically a running game so far, really, for both clubs. Ted Brown has 20 yards, and that's the rushing story, as Walter Payton with a bruised thigh is on the sidelines. So Willie McClendon may have a chance to play more than anyone anticipated. 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line for the Vikings. Let's see if they go to the air more. They don't, and Ted Brown trying to find a blocker. Ricky Young is just not blocking for Ted Brown effectively, and he can't get underway. The tackle made by Dan Hampton. Scores around the league. Philadelphia regains the lead over Washington 7-6. Eagles coming off the loss to Miami.
The Eagles were 9-4 going in. St. Louis now taking the lead over New Orleans 7-3. The Cardinals still have a shot at it. They're 6-7 in the NFC East.
Gain of 2, 2nd and 8 at the 22-yard line. Bob Brewer, number 82, is the tight end. Split backs. Tommy Kramer likes to throw. He's under pressure. His pass and almost picked off. Penalty marker down. We have a penalty flag as Gary Fensick was defending Bob Brewer, the tight end.
It was an awful late flag, but I think that's going to be the call against Fensick.
Number 45.
That's the call, and so the Vikings will have an automatic first down. That's Jerry Markbright, the referee, leading the crew this afternoon. So the Vikings and Bears, no score. 11:50 remaining in the 2nd quarter. Did Fensick get a little overzealous? Let's see what Brewer does out of the line.
Okay, here comes Brewer off the line, number 45. Gary Fensick going to be waiting for him right there as he comes down, turns his little hook in, and here comes Fensick, and the ball, he hits him before the ball gets there. The call was correct.
1st and 10, 31-yard line for the Vikings. A play-action pass, and Kramer. And this pass is intercepted by Reuben Henderson. Henderson to the 35-yard line. Henderson to the 30, and the rookie, Reuben Henderson, putting on his toe, gets to the 13-yard line. And a big Chicago interception by the rookie who's really had a superlative campaign.
I don't really know where Kramer was throwing this ball. He had his man down deep for a shot, and it's number 28. The ball was thrown way behind him. And here comes Reuben Henderson with some nifty open field running, and a good block by Fensick, a good block by Al Harris. Jim Huff misses him, and finally, the tackle was made downfield by 2 or 3 Vikings. The Bears have the ball and are threatening.
39-yard return for Henderson, his 4th interception. Walter Payton is in the game, and he's carrying the ball here. Walter Payton gets to the 5-yard line.
Bob Avellini is now in at quarterback for Chicago, number 7. Avellini in, and Payton is back in, as you mentioned, Dick.
Avellini has thrown 25 times, completed 12. He has 2 interceptions and no touchdowns. So Bob Avellini coming in, and Evans apparently just not having the day. And a 4-man front for Minnesota. 2nd and 1 at the 5. No score, 2nd quarter. Avellini, Walter Payton. Payton close to the goal line.
Looked like he was over to me, but there has been no call yet.
He is apparently short. And coming in the game is Mike Cobb, so it'll be a 1st and goal. Payton did get the first down, and 1st and goal for the Bears. Kurt Knopp forced the play and stopped Payton from going in the end zone. But the Bears are on the brink of going in Tommy Kramer with an interception. His 20th of the year. Bears trying to take the lead. Peyton doesn't make it. Matt Blair hit him.
He didn't make it because they made contact with him before he was able to take his leap on his way up on the double somersault with the twist. He didn't quite get up into the apex of his dive. Normally he's up and over, but the Vikings had great penetration. As you can see, everybody got across the line of scrimmage and hit Peyton before he got started. There was Matt Blair. 59 was in on the tackle there, and a couple of other submariners underneath.
So Matt Blair has met Walter Payton on a couple of occasions so far in this game, and it wasn't how do you do. Ricky Watts is in the game now. He is wing right, second and goal at the 1 as you look at the line. And Avellini carries and no signal. He did not make it apparently. Bob Avellini trying to go over on a quarterback sneak, and Bashnagel will come in for the play at 3rd and goal. They're trying to force it in there, and they're about an inch away.
I'll tell you, this is one NFL team that is very hard to score touchdowns. The Bears can't seem to get the ball over the goal line. They've had that problem all year. When they get down close, they can't score, and you got to give some credit to the Vikings. They're playing hard-nosed right down there on their own goal line.
3rd and goal. This time he made the over, but wait a second, he didn't break the plane, and the Vikings have held.
Well, not yet. There's still one more down.
Well, they've held on 3rd down, and they're going to run it, of course, with Watts coming in.
Let's see if he crosses the plane to that goal line with the ball.
No, he
did not.
Came very close.
I would have to say the Bears got to go for it.
Well, they are, and as we said before when they called the timeout, how many chances do you get? They had one chance down there and couldn't do it. And now they have another opportunity with 8:20, and that's what they've got to do. It's about less than a foot. Well, 4th and goal at the 1. And Walter Payton does not make it. Walter Payton is stopped at the goal line. And the Bears try to go up the middle 4 times, and 4 times they failed, and the crowd is not happy.
Well, they're running Payton from the I formation. That means he's got a long ways to go before he gets to the line of scrimmage. And one place you don't want to run the I as often is when you're down on the goal line trying to get a half a yard. So the Vikings stopped him. 4 great plays by the Minnesota Vikings on defense.
How many times can you go to the well? The Bears have had 2 golden opportunities and have come up empty, and that should prove a big impetus for the Vikings. You've got to give a lot of credit to the Vikings here.
Yes, you do, and you got to give some a rap to the Bears too for running Payton so deep back there. But there was good penetration. Dennis Johnson was in there, and the Vikings just showed some real power strength there, and they just out-muscled the Bears' offensive line there 4 plays in a row. When you can't quarterback sneak twice for a half a yard, you're in trouble. And when your running back can't get over from a yard out,
you're in trouble.
Saying much. You're in trouble. That's right.
All right, but now Tommy Kramer has 99 yards to bring his club out of it.
That's one advantage of going for it. They got the Vikings in real trouble here.
Kramer trying to get some yardage. Ricky Young carries the ball. That's the first time someone other than Ted Brown has carried, and Mike Singletary, the middle linebacker, makes the stop. Ricky Young not playing as much anymore with the Vikings going to 3 wide receivers.
And also with the emergence of Ted Brown as becoming such a good pass receiver out of the backfield. And you've seen an emphasis on the backfield situation go to Brown from Ricky Young, although Young is still an important factor. 2nd
and 9 at the 2. Kramer is 3 for 4 passing for 24 yards and an interception that didn't really hurt him. Here is Ricky Young again. Doesn't get much, and a penalty flag is down. Penalty flag down as Ricky Young is hit once again by the middle linebacker Singletary. And we have holding against the Vikings. Half the distance isn't a lot there.
They may refuse it.
They should, because they're not going to gain anything there. They'd rather have it 3rd down. And Dan Hampton talking to Jerry Markbright to decide what the Bears want to do here, and Fensick joins the discussion. Well, we haven't seen much of the Vikings, #1 in total offense in the conference and #1 in passing in the NFC. And they're hemmed in.
They took the penalty, so they took the half the distance to the goal line. They'd rather have him back on their 1, I guess.
Holding number 61, offense, 2nd down.
That was Wes Hamilton, the right guard. What's the rationale there?
The rationale is that when you're operating from your 1, they'll give you the 2 downs rather than operating from your 6 with the 1 down. I guess that's their rationale.
All right, Tommy Kramer from Rice in his 5th year, and he has come on strong. But he's got back to the wall right here at 2nd and 10 at the 1, and Kramer will throw it out of there. And the pass is incomplete, I believe. Oh, no, it's caught. Sammy White.
They ruled it incomplete. He did catch it, but it's ruled incomplete, out of bounds. Here's a look at it as Sammy White goes down the little short out pattern about 5 yards and then takes the pass, but I don't think the 2 feet came down in bounds.
And he didn't have control
anyway. He did get control.
So it's 3rd down. Ahmad Rashad is in the game as a 3rd wide receiver.
This is going to be quite a play. This is going to be a play.
4-1-6 defense. The 51 defense with Todd Bell and Jeff Fisher in the secondary. 3rd down. And they're going to try and run it out. Ted Brown in the end zone. And Brown just gets out of the end zone. He gets to about the 1-yard line, not even that far. And the Bears are claiming that they tackled Brown in the end zone. The officials say no. And so Ted Brown on a deep swing pattern on the running play, and dangerous at that, Johnny.
Yes, Hampton and Plank were all in on the tackle. They did tackle him in the end zone, but when he came down, the body, of course, was in his chest, and the ball came over the goal line. But Dan Hampton, number 99, really jammed up that play, and a host of Bears came across the field, and they ruled that he just got over the goal line. But look where they have to punt from.
Coleman at the back of the end zone. And Fisher at the 36-yard line. Jeff Fisher gets to the 25, maybe the 24, but frankly, field position has not done the Bears much good so far in this game, because the Bears have had 2 golden opportunities knocking on the Vikings' door, and they've come up empty both times. So the score still 0-0, 6:24 remaining in the 2nd quarter here in Chicago.
You know,
Next Saturday, CBS Sports starts your day at 12:30 Central with NCAA basketball action. The Marquette Warriors tip off against the Wake Forest Deacons. And then the NFL Today kicks off a special Saturday broadcast, 2:30 Central, followed by the Vikings and the Lions from the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. Next Saturday, 12:30 Central, live on CBS Sports. 1st and 10 Bears on the Vikings 25-yard line. And Avellini going in the air is batted down at the line. And batted down by Randy Holloway of the University of Pittsburgh, former #1 draft pick. An important game. Green Bay Packers against Detroit. We'll follow that game for you.
Okay, here it is. The quick pass out to the wide receiver. Holloway, 75, spots the quick pass by Avellini and jumps up, as a good defensive lineman should do once he sees that he can't make a sack. Jump up there, and he batted the ball away. And look at this, Detroit over Green Bay, 10-zip.
Bears have not completed a pass in 4 attempts so far. 2nd and 10 at the 25. Marjoram. And this pass is complete to Matsui at the 16-yard line. It'll be short of a 1st down by a couple.
Very good pass protection for Avellini as he went back in the pocket. You can see there is no rush. You'll see 26 come across the middle there. There's Seaman waiting for him to make the tackle, but not before Sui gave the Bears a 3rd down and 1.5 situation. And
that's the first pass completion of the day for the Bears. Vince Evans started. He was taken out of the game after a rough start. We don't know whether he was shaken up or just taken out. 2nd and 2 at the 17-yard line. 3 tight ends in there. Payton has the 1st down inside the 15-yard line. And the tackle is made by Tommy Hannon, the free safety number 45. So Payton, who's carried now 17 times. Sui has carried 5 times in a 1st down.
You know, if it hadn't have been for Tommy Hannon, 45 at the top of your screen, he'll break off the block by 79 Zanders. Zanders hits Hannon, but Hannon breaks away from it and gets Payton from the backside. Otherwise, Walter Payton would have been gone for a touchdown. Good play by Tommy Hannon.
Watson, Bashnagel are the receivers. A 4-man front for the Vikings. Martin, Mullaney, White, and Holloway. 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. Walter Payton gets nothing. Trying to go outside and then go inside. So the Bears have another opportunity. The first time they had a chance, Rivetto missed a 34-yard field goal as St. Louis leads New Orleans, and then the goal line stand by the Vikings. Nothing to score.
Wayne Morris has just scored for St. Louis, so it's 14-3. Well, let's see if the Bears can get into the end zone this time. They have had 3 good shots at it.
4:20 remaining in the second quarter. 2nd and 9 at the 10. Marjoram and Watt. And the whistle blow and the delay of the game call against the Bears. So it'll be 2nd 14 coming up for Chicago. And anytime they really have to pass, it puts them in more of a hole.
We still haven't received official word, but we think that Vince Evans was just taken out of the game, was not hurt, and they have just decided to go with Avellini, which obviously makes a little bit of a change. Avellini doesn't have the quickness or the speed that Evans
Delay of game, number 70.
Brooks Williams, number 83, comes in as the tight end. He caught 2 balls against Dallas on Thanksgiving Day, so we'll watch him on 2nd and 14 as Avellini brings the Bears out at the 15-yard line. Watts wide to the right. 4:13 remaining in the half. Marjoram, the rookie from Stanford, split left. Avellini still on his feet. Back to the 34-yard line. And wide open is Matt Sui. And Sui is stopped at the 12. I think the whole thing will be maybe getting back to the original line of scrimmage. Scott Studwell, number 55, one of the inside linebackers, makes the tackle.
Pretty gutsy play by Bob Avellini. As I mentioned, he doesn't have the speed of Evans, but he busted off the sack here, headed out into the right flat, and after he does end up throwing the ball, you're going to see him take a shot from Holloway. He got away from Mullaney, 77, couldn't find anybody downfield, had the presence of mind to throw back across to Sui, and then takes a shot after he threw the ball, and the Bears got back to the line of scrimmage.
5 defensive backs for the Vikings and the Bears. Look at that formation. They have 3 men to the left, including Walter Payton. Payton is cutting up the middle. The pass to Walter Payton is knocked away. A fine play by John Turner. Johnny Turner, who last year had 6 interceptions to lead, the Vikings has none, but a key breakup on that pass attempt to Walter Payton. It's 4th down.
That's the 3rd time they've run that play. You'll see Payton down from the wide receiver spot. He comes across. The timing was off. He's open now, but the ball was thrown a little bit behind, and John Turner made a great play to knock it down and stop the Bears' touchdown hopes. Now they're going for the field goal.
A 29-yard attempt. Bashnagel holding for Rivetto. Rivetto is 9 of 15 this year. And the kick is good, and we have points on the board, folks. 3 minutes and 11 seconds to go in the first half. We thought we'd never see it. And I'll tell you, this is something we didn't expect, especially with the Minnesota Vikings. But it's 3-0 Bears lead, 3:11 to go in the first half, and we'll be back.
They upset the Cowboys, made turkey of the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. Saturday, the Detroit Lions face the Minnesota Vikings in a fight for the playoffs starting at 3:30 Eastern with the NFL Today, Saturday on CBS.
But first things first for the Minnesota Vikings. Before they can think of Detroit, they've got to think of the Bears, and they trail 3-0. As you look at the scoring drive for the Bears, who have had great field position all day, and they're going to have to kick it again because that same wind coming out of the south has knocked the ball off of the tee. So the Bears lead at 3-0 on Rivetto's field goal from 29 yards out. In a weird game so far. We had a fumble early and then an interception. We had a fake on a field goal that almost got the Bears a score and a goal line stand. So we've had just about everything other than a lot of points, John.
And we have the ball off the tee once again. And the Bears, I think, are going to go right away with somebody to hold the ball.
The Bears next week are in Oakland before they close the season against the Broncos.
He uses the 3-inch tee. You may notice how high that tee is. He likes the 3-inch tee on the kickoff. And that's why some kickers don't like to have somebody hold the ball for him, because
well, he Willie McClendon has come in. Willie McClendon is going to hold.
Okay, did you ever hold for anybody on a kickoff?
Just yesterday.
Well, I tell you what, you can hurt your pinky if he misses a little bit. That little pinky.
McClendon doesn't want to look. All right, a line drive kick. And at Eddie Payton, 5 yards in the end zone, wisely downs it there, a touchback. And so the Vikings will take over on the 20. And I'll tell you one thing, we've been talking about the Bears' misfortunes on offense and how the Vikings defense stopped Chicago on goal line. But what about the Bears defensively? They have played solid defensive football now for 4 games, even though they haven't been able to win. Thanksgiving Day was the last example, and they're playing well again defensively today.
So far, they've really shut the Vikings down, and Minnesota's not been able to move the ball at all. They haven't had the greatest field position all the time. As you look at the Philadelphia-Washington score in the second period, Bear defense came to play.
1st and 10 for the Vikings on the 20-yard line. Let's see if Tommy Kramer limbers that passing arm. Movement in the line, Alan Page, and a penalty marker down as Ted Brown carries to the 24-yard line. Was Page drawn off or not? We'll find out shortly.
I don't know whether he was drawn off, but he was the man that was across the line of scrimmage, and number 82, Alan Page, in his 15th year.
Now, you talked to him yesterday. Any emotion about playing the Vikings the last time?
He tried to pretend there wasn't, but you know there is. He played for Bud Grant for so long, and this is going to be the last time he has any kind of a confrontation with the Vikings.
Offside, number 82.
Alan Page, the only defensive player ever to capture the most valuable player award of the National Football League. Spent 11 years with the Vikings, 4 years with the Bears. 1st and 5 now for Tommy Kramer, and he sends out his pass receivers to the right. And the ball is batted by Al Harris, and they almost had a shot at it, but Harris got his mitts up and knocked the pass off to the left side.
Harris is playing quite a football game. He got over Steve Riley that time and was up to knock the ball down.
Look at the total offense story. A little surprising here.
Chicago 119 to 46, most of it on the ground.
107 yards on the ground for the Bears. And for the Vikings, they've managed 24 yards passing, 22 rushing, and that's not their style. So it's 2nd and 5 at the 25 with just under 3 minutes to go in the first half. Overcast now here at Soldier Field. In motion is Sammy White. And Kramer back to throw, and his pass to Sammy White is complete, and White gets the first down at the 34-yard line, where Terry Schmidt and Mike Singletary combine to make the play. Singletary playing better and better each week and getting renowned for making some big hits on running backs, and I think he's got to be one of the top rookies in the league at linebacker.
And he's taking the signals in from defensive coordinator Buddy Ryan now. He was benched the first 6 or 7 games because he was making so many mistakes, but he says now that maybe that was a better thing for him. To be benched, watch for a while, realize you just can't do it automatically. Now he's in there playing much better.
You know, we've not seen Joe Sensor except for a couple of plays. Bob Brewer has been the tight end. Wonder if Sensor is not 100%. And a fake, and Kramer gets rid of it and completes it to Brewer, and here's a fumble, and it's still going to be Minnesota ball, and he picked up another couple of yards and a first down at that.
Yes, good play by Kramer, and you mentioned Sensor. He has a sore knee that he got last week, and it was kind of bothering him. They didn't know how bad it was going to be, but look at the pressure here. Jim Osborne, 68, all over Kramer. Kramer put the ball right on the dime. Brewer fumbles it, but it goes out of bounds, still in control of the Minnesota Vikings. First down.
So Brewer, who's seeing a lot of action in this game, Brewer so far this year has caught now 5 passes on the year, but 3 of them have been for touchdowns. 1st and 10 for the Vikings on their own 47. Kramer likes to go to the air, and it's up the middle, caught by Brewer, and another first down. I believe Brewer has another first down at the Bear 42. Doug Plank, Gary Fensick makes the play.
Well, Singletary was there and almost had himself an interception as Brewer comes off the line of scrimmage, does his little hook, and then the pass was thrown to the other side of Singletary, and that's why it was completed. Good accuracy by Kramer. Brewer does the right thing, catches the ball, got up, and got a couple extra yards.
Good catch. So Brewer has made the most out of getting some extra yards. It'll be 2nd down and just a couple. We have the 2-minute warning here at Soldier Field with the Bears leading 3-0. Big game up in Green Bay. The Lions lead at 10-7. The Packers are in 4th place, only a game out of 1st place. Detroit plays Minnesota next week, and most of these clubs have their fate in their own hands.
The Packers are showing some resiliency because they were down 14 tips in Minnesota and came back.
You can't say that word in this weather, John. It's impossible. 2nd and 2. Ted Brown, short of a first down. Todd Bell, former Ohio Stater, makes the play. In is the nickel back. So a lot of good rookies, including Todd Bell, who was a 4th-round draft choice from Ohio State. Jeff Fisher, we've seen. Reuben Henderson, Leslie Frazier, a lot of rookies. And Bell stays in the game now and is joined by Fisher. And we go to the 4-1-6 defense. Bud Grant will now move indoors next year at the Metrodome, Hubert Humphrey Metrodome in Bloomington, or Minneapolis, we should say. 3rd down and 2 with 1:23 to go in the half. Kramer off balance, trying to go to Sammy White, and Terry Schmidt was covering him. But I'll say one thing, Bears are putting tremendous pressure on Tommy Kramer and not giving him time to do anything.
That's right. Hampton and Bruce Herron were both all over Kramer as he threw that ball, and they had a 3rd down and 2, did not get the first down. They're going to be forced to punt.
Doesn't it make it easier for that secondary to have that pressure, John?
Oh, yes. And you got to give the Bears credit. The Vikings have not been that wide open. They're keeping them into conservative formations because of all the different screwy defenses the Bears use.
Coleman at the 40 will punt for the 3rd time. Fisher is at the 10. 1:18 remaining. Bears have 2 timeouts remaining. Going for the right sideline. A high kick doesn't go very far, and it takes a Minnesota bounce, however, inside the 15-yard line, and Coleman couldn't have asked for more. He was going to the right, went to the left, didn't go far, and it bounced inside the 15-yard line. Well, next weekend, a great lineup of NFL action on CBS. Of course, the Vikings will be in Detroit Silverdome on Saturday to take on the Lions in that key NFC Central battle. Coverage begins with the NFL Today at 2:30 Central. Sunday, CBS doubleheader. Packers at New Orleans in the first game. George Rogers going for the title. And the rushing title, Philadelphia plays at Dallas. And, of course, the fans here will see Chicago at Oakland. Cobb and Earl, 2 tight ends. 1st and 10 at the 13 for the Bears. 1:06 remaining in the first half. Dashnagel is the wide receiver. Payton goes outside. Payton has a first down, and Payton gets to the 24-yard line before Tommy Hannon, the free safety, makes the tackle. So Walter Payton, who's gone over 1,000 yards for the 6th straight year, and the only one else to do that, the only other player was Franco Harris.
The fans are a little upset now because the Bears are taking their time and not obviously trying to get something on the board before the halftime.
You look at the clock, 1st and 10 at the 25. Payton now carried 19 times for 74 yards. Payton again, this is his 20th carry, and not quite as fruitful as the last one. And so the clock runs, and unquestionably the Bears are content to let it run out. Now a timeout is called by the Bears. So the question is, why do the Bears wait so long to call a timeout?
Well, that's a very good question, Dick, and the fans are wondering why a team that is 3-10, you know, is trying to run out the clock at the halftime and waste a possession when you have the football. It's not very smart football.
We'll take a break here with only 18 seconds to go in the first half. The preceding message was furnished by the National Football League. This is Dick Stockton and Johnny Morris here at Soldier Field. It's overcast, warmed up a little bit now, and 18 seconds to go. The Bears looked as if they weren't going to do anything the rest of this first half, and then they call a timeout. They now come out with 3 wide receivers all flooded to the left side.
They're going to have the alley-oop pass down the field.
All right, you know them. 2nd and 9 at the 26 with 18 seconds to go. And 6 defensive backs. Instead of draw play to Matt Suey. Suey has a first down and can't get out of bounds. He gets to the 43-yard line, and now the Bears call their last timeout with 11 seconds to play in the half.
Okay, Matt Suey, the lone remaining back. Good blocking by Emmanuel Sanders and Dan Neal on that play as Suey gets down the field. He's down to about the 44-yard line before he's finally brought down by Turner. Now there's 11 seconds left in the half. The Bears could conceivably complete one pass and kick a field goal. They'll be kicking with the wind.
Bob Avellini did not start the game. Vince Evans did. He came out after having rough sledding, and Avellini came in. Peyton had an injured thigh earlier, and he returned to the game. Next Saturday, the Vikings and the Lions, and you know that's going to be an incredible struggle because both of these clubs coming into this weekend 7-6, 2 of the 3 teams tied for first place in the NFC Central. And coming up at halftime, it's Brent Irv at Georgia. Look at Rams owner Georgia Frontiere plus scores and highlights from around the league. 1st and 10 at the 43. And they're going to flood the left side again. No more timeouts for the Bears. Avellini going for the deep pass in the crowd, and it's picked off by Hannon and an interception. So Hannon, who intercepted one last week in the losing cause against Green Bay, has intercepted a pass here.
There you see, it's like a track meet. 3 receivers down the field. Marjoram, Bashnagel, and Watts, who's the fastest, and the last one down the field. And finally, it's Tommy Hannon with the interception, number 45. And the Vikings stop the Bears and will run out the clock.
So Teal and Hannon have interceptions today for the Vikings, and they now, with 4, are the team leaders in that department. Kurt Knopf has 3, but the Vikings are well down in interceptions compared to last year at this time. All right, 3 seconds to go, and no question, but we shouldn't say that in a game like this. That'll do it. That's the end of the first half. We expected a lot of passing. We didn't get it. We only have 3 points, and they're owned by the Bears. So that's the end of the first half here at Soldier Field with the score. Chicago 3 and Minnesota nothing.
Next weekend, don't miss a minute of the excitement here on CBS Sports. Saturday, a special NFL contest as the tough Minnesota Vikings meet the surprising Detroit Lions. Also on Saturday, get into the spirit with a regional edition of NCAA basketball, featuring Wake Forest at Marquette and USC at Long Beach State. Then on Sunday, it's a big day of NFL doubleheader action as the Philadelphia Eagles battle the Dallas Cowboys in a crucial NFC match. Explosive matchups, important outcomes, all next weekend on CBS Sports.
Welcome back to the news desk in New York. I'm Brent Musburger with Irv Cross. Oh, it is windy today in Manhattan and across the river in New Jersey. 7-0, and the wind is gusting at about, well, 40 miles an hour. But Irv didn't stop Wendell Tyler here.
Well, doesn't hurt just putting the ball on the ground. Tyler goes in from the 1-yard line.
All right. Meanwhile now, out in that wild race in the NFC Central, we've got Detroit ahead of Green Bay, 10-7. Let's check the highlights. How's our buddy the legend doing? Well, Billy Sims keeps Eric Hipple going. Watch this run. He just sheds that would-be tackler, battles his way down to the 9-yard line for the Lions, and then who in the world's Vince Thompson?
Right there. People don't see much of him. He compliments Billy Sims very well. He's a good inside runner. Look at that power. He goes in for the score, 9 yards out.
After they were down by 10, Irv, then the Packers started to go to work, and here's that big tight end, Paul Kaufman. He's heard Irv raving about Joe Sensor, and he says, don't count me out. I got some talent, too. And here comes another one of your buddies, Harlan Huckabee.
Huckabee, not Huckleberry, right? 3 yards in.
10-7 is the count in that game right now. And, of course, Chicago, what can you say about that offense? They can't get any touchdowns. It's 3-0, field goal over Minnesota right now. New England and Miami. The Dolphins were behind by 7, and now they have gone ahead 14-7. Woodley scrambled in for one of the Dolphin touchdowns. St. Louis now leading New Orleans 17-3. Even though the Saints struck first, Neil Lomax trying to make it 4 in a row as a starting quarterback for Jim Hannaford. And watch him on the scramble here.
But one thing he does very well, he brings that ball down. He's an excellent runner, as you can all see. A 23-yard scramble for a score.
And Irv, that makes this play lethal because they say, wait, he may run out of there, but he waits patiently, moves to the right, and got a beautiful comeback block, goes to Tilly, 27-yard gain. Then he handed off here to Wayne Morris, who is tough down inside the 5-yard line. And again, as I said, it is now 17-3, the Cardinals over the Saints. Philadelphia and Washington. The Skins got on the board first, missed an extra point. Now the Eagles have scored twice. Here was the first touchdown, and it was Joe Washington 6 yards out, and then Eagles went to the shotgun.
Well, I tell you, the Eagles wanted to get some offense established early in this game. They struggled a little bit, but here Jaworski goes to number 37. Billy Canfield was an excellent receiver, goes in for the score.
So good, Irv, they're going to come right back to him. Second touchdown by Canfield. Franklin had an extra point blocked, and so it now stands at 13-6 in that game. Dallas Cowboys are now ahead of the Baltimore Colts 10-0. They have just kicked a field goal in this game. Ron Springs scoring the Cowboy touchdown after they took the opening kickoff. Glenn Carano's playing, but Danny White is doing the punting. Now, San Francisco and Cincinnati. Major showdown there. The 49ers have wrapped up the NFC West. The Bengals need a win, and those Tigers, they're on the prowl down there in Cincinnati. And there was a touchdown pass. Joe Montana to Bill Ring out of BYU, and right now it is 7-3, and the NFL Today continues on CBS after these messages from your local stations. Last spring, more than 1,500 University of Southern California students voted Los Angeles Ram president Georgia Frontiere one of the 10 most influential women of the year, along with Nancy Reagan, Barbara Streisand, and Mother Teresa. Now, you may not agree with that assessment, but she certainly is one of the most influential women in professional sports. And Connie Chung of KNXT was given a rare opportunity for a visit with this woman whose interests reflect her early career as a singer and her pleasure in writing verse.
And Hayden going upstairs, gets some protection, and it's picked off by Jack Ham, and Ham is to the 10.
Did I hit the right note?
You did.
Georgia always wanted to be a star, but this season, her show has folded. She was born Georgia Irwin in St. Louis. Her early life as a singer took her from Las Vegas to New York, and also through 5 marriages. Carol Rosenblum was husband number 6, a multimillionaire who left her the Rams when he died 2.5 years ago. Carol was a tough act to follow, and critics quickly gave Georgia bad reviews. As she took us on a tour of Ram Park in Anaheim, it was clear she is an easy target.
What does that do to the legs?
Building right up through the quad right here. When you push off.
Inner
Boom,
thighs?
yeah, explosion. Or explosion.
Explosion?
Yeah, coming off the line.
Does that, oh, so they can...
Yeah.
Well, that's the way it goes.
Also, the possessory interest tax came up today. And I think we'll probably be appealing that.
Is that all right to have on the television?
It was in the newspaper.
Oh, then that's all right.
Privately, some players admit it embarrasses them when she tries to be one of the guys. Others say she is the owner and she can do anything she wants. But the older players think Carol Rosenblum would have found a way to keep Vince Ferragamo and quietly pay off Fred Dreyer. That mismanagement botched those deals.
Essentially, she's in a man's world. I think she's felt her way along the first year, and she ended up leading the team to the Super Bowl, and I think she's come a long way since then.
She takes a great deal of advice on running the team. Some of it comes from her 7th husband, Dominic Frontiere, a Hollywood composer.
Some have said that even you are running the team. Is it true?
No. No.
Anybody that knows me, I guess, knows that it's pretty hard to tell me what to do.
She does have the last word, but insiders say she is not decisive. She's elusive, difficult to reach on the phone, and perpetually late. She's running the team her way.
Running a business, I don't know that it has to be run by a macho.
Georgia does take an interest in the human side of this business, cares about the players. But her team is heading for its worst record in a decade. As an involved owner of the Los Angeles Rams, Georgia may be miscast.
Yes, woman is the weaker one. How else would all the work get done? And when we go to bed at night, who really starts and ends each fight?
Connie Chung for CBS Sports.
Irv, as a former player, would it be distractive to have a woman such as Georgia as the owner of your team?
I don't really think so, but I think too much has been said about the Rams front office operation. You remember a couple of years ago, they went to the Super Bowl. I think the players just sort of shake it off.
All right, the NFL Today continues on CBS.
We are at halftime here at Soldier Field in Chicago in a pivotal game for the Minnesota Vikings playoff chances. They went in tied for the Central Division lead in the NFC with 7-6 records with Tampa Bay and Detroit, and the Packers right behind. But the Bears have the lead 3-0 on John Rivetto's 29-yard field goal in a surprising game that has been really dominated by a superb Chicago Bear defense, particularly the pass rush, not allowing Tommy Kramer to get anything underway. So Minnesota has not gotten on the board. Chicago leading 3-0. It's been an unusual game.
Car's running great, honey.
Right.
Hey, the blimps behind us.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by the Tough Americans, American Motors and its AMC Jeep and Renault dealers. Radio Shack, a division of Tandy Corporation. And by STP, STP Gas Treatment and STP Oil Treatment.
Vince Evans was the starting quarterback for the Bears, and he was benched as we welcome you back to Soldier Field, Chicago. Dick Stockton and Johnny Morris. The Bears are leading the Vikings 3-0, and a big interception earlier in the game, and the start of the downfall for Evans.
Here's a look at Vince. On the partial rollout, he threw into the double coverage here, got the interception. This came early in the ballgame. Finally, Neil Armstrong said it is not Vince Evans' day. He went to Bob Avellini.
And the Bears tried a little trickery on a field goal situation. John Rivetto trying the field goal, holding his Bashnagel, and he shuffled it to Al Harris, and Al Harris running inside was caught from behind after an 18-yard pickup, but the Bears were not able to score.
And that's because the Minnesota Vikings show some pretty good defense. As you look at Tommy Kramer on the sidelines, we're getting ready here for the second half. There's the other. Here it is. The Bears had 4 chances from the 1 to get in. This is the 4th down play. Good penetration by the Vikings. Peyton from out of the eye tried to get up and over, could not. Lost a little bit of control of the ball as he was approaching the line there, and the Vikings came up with a great goal line stand. I don't care who you are. If you stop a team from 1 yard out with 4 straight downs, you've done a job.
And the only points in the game, John Rivetto, a 29-yard field goal. And that kick was good earlier, hit the upright and bounced away. So Rivetto 1 for 2, and the Bears leading 3-0 as you look at the first half statistics. And the fact is that the Vikings have only 50-yard passing, and that's the story.
And 72 yards of total offense. So Minnesota has not been able to move the ball thanks to Buddy Ryan's defense, which has come on very strong the last 3 or 4 games and held their opponents to under 200 yards passing the last few games, and done very well.
Rivetto with the kickoff, and Peyton will see it hit the pylon, and it's in the end zone for a touchback. Peyton was hoping the ball would go out, but it hit the pylon, and so the Vikings will get the ball 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line.
If that had gone out on the half-a-yard line, the Vikings would have known for sure it is not their day.
Eddie Peyton, who comes into this game ranked amongst the leaders in kickoff returns, 5th in the NFC. So let's see what happens now as Tommy Kramer brings his team out. 1st and 10 at the 20. 3-0 Bears lead. Ted Brown, number 23, and Ricky Young, 34, are the running backs. Ahmad Rashad, number 28, wide to the left. Sammy White, 85, split right. We'll check the tight end for you in a moment as Ricky Young carries one of the few times penalty flag is down. Holding against Minnesota, so they get themselves in an early hole.
And Joe Sensor is still not in there here in the second half, so it looks like Sensor's knee is bad enough that we're not going to get to see him at all. Brewer, however, has done a pretty good job in relief.
He's caught a couple of passes. Sensor came into this game with 71 catches, 3rd in the league.
Illegal use of the hands, number 73, offense.
That was a veteran, Ron Yari, number 73, who's physically so strong and in such great shape. People think that Yari can go on like Jim Marshall did till he was 40 years old.
Then why is he holding?
Everyone does, right? Leading receivers, and we just talked about Brown and Sensor. 1-3, not only in the NFC, but in the NFL. 1st and 20 now at the 10-yard line for the Vikings. Play action pass. Kramer going to Young. Young was trapped and still is. There'll be a loss on the play of a couple of yards. A couple of years ago, Ricky Young caught 88 passes as Mike Singletary with a big hit. And I like this Bear defensive team, even with Otis Wilson out of there today.
Yes, and you got to give some credit to Gary Campbell, number 59. He always has a knack of smelling out those screens, and he forced the ball carrier Young back inside for the inside pursuit. And the Vikings find themselves in trouble deep in their own territory. Second down, long passing situation, and Tommy Kramer still trying to shake out of his slump.
Mike Hartenstein, number 73, is in. 5 down lineman, and Terry LeCount, number 80, is in the game as a third receiver. Todd Bell is a 5th defensive back.
Now you see Plank is right up on the line of scrimmage, 46, Cabral, 54.
He does not blitz, and Ted Brown does not get anything. A superb play by Alan Page at the 9-yard line.
The Vikings just aren't able to pick up on the Bears' different stunts and crisscrosses and linebackers. As you look at Green Bay rallying over Detroit, 14-10 at halftime.
And next week, it is Detroit on Saturday against Minnesota. Green Bay plays at New Orleans on Sunday. And Philadelphia, Dallas, or Chicago at Oakland in the second game. So the Packers could very well move into a tie for first place. Might have a 4-way tie. 3rd and 21 at the 9-yard line. Opening moments here of the second half. Ted Brown gets nothing, gets to the 12-yard line. Jim Osborne makes the stop. Every one of these Chicago Bear defensive players have distinguished themselves so far in this game in one way or another.
They are hustling. Osborne caught that one from behind, from the backside. As the thing is, you can see that the Bears have forced the Vikings into conservatism. And Jerry Burns is not what you call a conservative coach, but they're going into their tighter formations, running the ball on 3rd down. I know they were down deep in their territory, but the Bears are dictating Minnesota's offense right now.
Fisher was deep. Coleman a yard in his end zone to punt for the Vikings. This is not a Minnesota offensive game the way they would like. And a good punt by Coleman sends Fisher back just about to the 35-yard line. The first man to hit him was Dennis Johnson, a linebacker who was figured in the goal line stand earlier in the game. So he's earning a lot of points in Bud Grant's notebook. And the Bears will take the ball on the 41-yard line. 3-0 to score. The Bears lead Minnesota, and the Vikings have to get to work before long. But Chicago has the ball when we come back.
Thursday.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash.
It's a heartwarming Christmas visit to Scotland with the Carter family and special guest Andy Williams. Join Johnny Cash Thursday.
The Honey Bears are having fun here as the Chicago Bears lead the Vikings 3-0. The Bears kept the ball on the ground. 30 of their 39 plays have been running plays. Peyton with 75 yards and 20 carries leads. Suey has 44 yards, and that's just about what they like from their fullback. 1st and 10 at the 41-yard line for Chicago. Walter Payton gets a couple, and that's all. Trying to crack the middle. Albrecht was blocking ahead. Jeff Seaman makes the stop. So Bob Avellini quarterbacking now. As we just told you, the rushing plays, and what's surprising is the fact that the Vikings have run more than expected.
14 rushing plays to 11 in the air. The Vikings don't do that very often, but right now it's Chicago with the ball.
2nd and 8. Marjoram and Watts, the wide receivers. And coming up strong to the line as Peyton finds an opening off the left side and gets to midfield, short of a first down by 1 yard. Jeff Seaman once again makes the tackle. As we said, now that the Vikings are using the 3-4 defense, Seaman has more of a chance to play, as Walter Payton now is close to the 80-yard mark. Mike Cobb comes in. 2 tight ends along with Robin Earl. So the rushing leaders, Payton and Brown, with Rodgers leading.
Payton would now be over 1,100 yards.
3rd and 1 at midfield. Payton does not have the first down. He is stopped short. Vikings have been awfully tough on the short yardage wherever the ball's been, either midfield or goal line. And it's going to be 4th down. I don't believe the Bears made it.
A good second effort by Payton, but he had a little bit too far to go. Now the Bears will be forced with a choice. They'll have about 4th and a half a yard to go from midfield, and it looks like they're going to go for it.
Emery Moorhead made a move to come on the field and then was brought back, but they're going to measure first to see exactly how much they need as you look at Payton's work so far.
I would go for it, wouldn't you, with the way even if they don't make it, the defense has been playing so well that with the odds that you do make it with a half a yard to go, they're not going to go for it. Boy, me and my logic goes right out the window.
You know, the Bears are 3-10, like you pointed out, and they have a lead, and their defense is playing good. And there you see, talk about defense, what Minnesota did. You're right. They don't allow Peyton to really get ahead of steam, to leap at the goal line or get anything going at the line. So punting will be Bob Parsons, who was sensational against Dallas, but his average is only 28 yards right now. Eddie Payton is deep.
The Vikings are leery.
Yeah, he's passed. A good kick. And it bounces at the 10. Todd Bell is there to down it at the 4-yard line. Well, if the Bears defense continues to play like they have played, they have the Vikings in a pretty good hole now. 10 minutes and 37 seconds remaining in the third quarter. A 47-yard punt, no return. It'll be 1st and 10 Minnesota when we come back. Dallas with a 1-game lead over Baltimore, or over Philadelphia in the division, leading the Colts 17-0 in the first quarter. The beleaguered Baltimore Colts. 1st and 10 at the 3. Ted Brown has gained 5 yards the last 5 times he's carried. So the Bears have put pressure on, and they also shut down the one running threat. Pass incomplete. It was intended for Rashad, and there were 5 Bears around Ahmad Rashad, as Kramer just can't get it underway. Dan Hampton put some great pressure in from left defensive end.
It looked like Rashad didn't even see the ball coming as Kramer took his chance. He was back there in the end zone, got good pass protection that time, and still was not able to hit anybody down the field. The Vikings are really frustrated in the passing game.
What makes it tougher for Kramer is the fact that he has 2 really injured knees. He doesn't have the mobility that he could use. 2nd and 10 at the 3. Kramer 7 of 12 for 48 yards. Ted Brown stopped at the 5. Al Harris. Fensick came in for good measure, but the Bears defense is stopping the pass and stopping the run, and the Vikings have 0 on the scoreboard. 3-0 Bears, and of course it could have been much more for Chicago if they had taken advantage of some of those great opportunities they had inside the 5 earlier.
You know, and when you stop to think that the Vikings were #1 in the NFL in pass offense going into this, and in NFC, I should say, that's impressive.
3rd and 8 at the 5. We may see some pressure here by the Bears. And play action pass. Kramer to Brewer, incomplete. And the linebacker, Brian Cabral, was defending on the play, and let's single him out because he is playing in place of Wilson. Cabral, who was drafted by Atlanta on the 4th round in '78, been with Baltimore, Green Bay, and a good play here.
And Brewer had a slight step, and you're going to see 54 at the top of your screen put his hand out just at the last second to knock the ball away. Good play by Brian Cabral. The Vikings will be forced to punt from their end zone.
Frustrating day for Kramer and the Vikings offense. As Coleman, he says, how much do I have to back up here? He's been kicking from the end zone a good part of the day. Fisher is deep for this kick coming down at the 48-yard line. Fisher is out of bounds at the 45. John Swain, a rookie cornerback, drove Fisher out of bounds. So we have 9 minutes and 38 seconds remaining in the third quarter. The Bears lead 3-0. They have had great opportunities to up their lead. They just can't do it offensively. But defense, the name of the game for Chicago so far. Baltimore has scored against Dallas. And there you see Ted Marchibroda, who calls in the plays. He's with Dick Stanfield, Neil Armstrong, the brain trust of the Bears. 1st and 10 at the 44. Bears in Minnesota territory. Matsui inside the 40, and a good pickup for Matt. Matt Blair makes the tackle. Sui has done pretty well the times he's been called upon today, John.
Yes, he has. He's a good hard-nosed runner. He's nothing like a Payton, but he's a good counterbalance to Walter Payton. Whenever Payton's running for 80, 90 yards, you got to figure your other back is going to get some yards when you're handing the ball if your offensive line is blocking.
2nd and 4 at the 38. The Bears today 2 for 7 for 12 yards. That's their passing story. Bashnagel came in with the play. He's with Watts, but they're going to run it. Payton dives forward inside the 35-yard line and very close to a first down before Mark Mullaney, who had a sprained ankle and has started and played this game. So it'll be very close to a first down, short by about a yard, as Mike Cobb, the tight end, comes in with the play.
Well, you get a good look at Bob Avellini, who was the Bears starter for 3 or 4 years before he was beaten out of the job, and now the last couple of years has been the #3 quarterback. Mike Phipps is out. Now, what does this mean for the rest of the season? The team is moving a little bit better under Avellini than it did Evans.
3rd and 1 at the 35-yard line with 8.5 to play, 3rd quarter. Payton trying to get the first down, does. And he gets to the 30-yard line, and Scott Studwell was set back a couple of yards by the hard-charging Walter Payton. So Tom Landry said it on Thanksgiving Day. Payton is the key to this ball club, and he's proving it again this afternoon.
Okay, Matt Suhey, 26, is leading the way. Suhey throws a block on John Turner, and it was Studstill who made the tackle. Did I say Studstill?
Remember him from your days.
Yes.
Detroit Lions. 1st and 10 now at the 29. Bears leading 3-0 and driving here. Avellini, his pass, Baschnagel, incomplete. Matt Suhey is the only Bear to catch a pass today.
He has 2 receptions.
So none of the wide receivers have caught a ball as Watts comes in. So they're really used just to bring in plays the way it's gone.
Well, Ricky Watts brings a play in to Bob Avellini, and I have a hunch they're going to go to the air this time.
2nd and 10 at the 29. As Doug Martin comes in to join Mulaney, White, and Holloway up front.
Payton is in the slot right now.
To the top of your screen, you have Watts and then Payton. 2nd and 10 at the 29. Suhey, the lone back, and gets it on the draw play. And the Vikings read that perfectly, and they turned it into a 1-yard gain. Matt Blair and the Vikings defense, as we pointed out at the top, the strength has to be the linebacking core, with Blair, a big play man, and Fred McNeil outside, and some toughies inside, and Seaman and Studwell.
The Bears may win this game, but they certainly aren't very much fun to watch.
Now the Vikings come in with their version of the 51 defense, 6 defensive backs, 3rd and 9. Marjoram, Baschnagel, and Watts, 3 wide receivers. Avellini from Maryland. On 3rd and 9 at the 28-yard line.
Blitz.
Here comes a blitz, and he's not going to get rid of it. Matt Blair coming in on the blitz, and the Vikings putting more of a blitz in this game, timing it right, and they dump Avellini back there. So it'll be 4th down.
Number 59, look for Matt Blair. He comes off a Duck White, 72, gets by Emmanuel Zanders and puts the block on Avellini. 2 Bear linemen, Zanders and Neal, ended up blocking 1, while Matt Blair got through slick and clean to make the sack on Avellini.
That's the 3rd sack of Bear quarterbacks this afternoon as Parsons kicks it, and the flag is down. So we have a penalty, and that kick will not count. Jerry Markbright, the official, and people, as you normally see in this case, pointing all over the place. We won't speculate.
Here it is right now.
4th down.
No play. I guess they're right. So Parsons will kick again from the 46 after that no play. And Eddie Payton is at the 10. Former Penn Stater and a fixture here in Chicago, Bob Parsons, with 6:47 remaining in the 3rd quarter of a 3-0 game. Covering is Emory Moorhead, and look at that coverage by Todd Bell and Emory Moorhead. The Bears have covered their kicks beautifully today.
And Bob Parsons has been uncanny this year on kicking inside the 20, even inside the 10-yard line. He had 24 kicks inside the 20 going into this game, and you add 2 or 3, and that really puts an offense in trouble, and the Vikings are having to operate from deep in the hole almost every time.
Haven't had many of those this year, and they're looking for number 4, and if they do, it'll strike a critical blow to the Minnesota Viking chances. The Vikings have not been able to move the ball at all against the Bears, trapped in their own end. 1st and 10 at the 8-yard line. 3 wide receivers, all to the left side. Terry LeCount, number 80, is in there. Kramer, Ted Brown. He would have been better off dropping that ball if he could. It could have been an incomplete. He was in danger territory back there as he gets it out to the 7.
I don't think he was sure whether it was a pass or a lateral, and he thought he better make sure he catches the ball. Plus, you have natural instinct. And here comes the pass out here in the flat, and boy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got it, Ma. And then he almost got himself into safety problems, and it's Dan Hampton got a hand on him, and Brian Cabral, 54. The Vikings just cannot master this Bears defense. Now they're doubling over here.
Ricky Young come back. 2 wide receivers to the left, 2nd and 12 at the 6-yard line. Kramer pass to Young at the 14. Fensick and a penalty marker down at the line of scrimmage. Fensick makes the tack on Ricky Young. And holding against the Vikings. So whenever the Vikings have anything going, it's all nullified by a holding call, and that's because the Bears may be causing that.
I'm not sure about this, but aside from the first possession there when he threw that interception, I don't remember the Vikings being outside their 10 or 15-yard line this whole football game.
No, they were driving, and when Kramer was hit and fumbled the ball, that was about as close as they've gotten to getting anything today.
Right, that was at the beginning of the game.
First series.
Yeah, since that time, it was just that one time he had that interception.
There you're looking at the Minnesota possessions, and that tells the story graphically. Because after the
2nd down,
other than a 20 and a 35-yard series, the most they have gained is 16. 2nd and 15 now at the 3-yard line. Brown has caught 2 passes coming out of the backfield from -2 yards. Young has caught 1 for -1, so maybe they ought to go to the outside guys, and Terry LeCount, number 80, is in there. At the 3, 2nd and 15. 5-1-6 alignment defensively for the Bears. Pressure on Kramer, and Terry LeCount. Incomplete. He almost made a brilliant one-handed catch, and Terry Schmidt with him step for step, and LeCount almost got him out of a hole.
Terry Schmidt one-on-one with the jam, and then he runs with him, and he's there stride for stride. The pass was right up and over. Almost a sensational catch there by LeCount, but he couldn't hang on to the one-handed grab, and the Vikings now have a 3rd down passing situation. And this is a kind of a case where the Bears are not afraid to blitz even down here.
Now, we have seen, of course, the Bears blitz inside all season long with the safeties, but they have blitzed a couple of times outside. Would they do that here?
They might do that here, but I would imagine they have to get to the 18 for a 1st down. I imagine they would drop the people off.
3 wide receivers. 3rd and 15 out of the shotgun. Kramer completes the pass. Terry LeCount has a 1st down at the 25-yard line. Bruce Herron, the linebacker, pushed him out. So Kramer finally hits a pass that gets the Vikings out of trouble to LeCount, the former 49er.
The Bears did drop off, and this was a perfect pass as Kramer hit him right in stride, heading for the sidelines. As Brewer had cleared the zone, Clown had come down and out, and it's a 1st down for Minnesota. A little breathing room for Tommy Kramer.
Ricky Young returns to the game. And Rashad to the left, Sammy White right. 1st and 10 at the 25. 5:28 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Kramer's percentage isn't bad today, but he hasn't gotten the yardage. Play action, and a blitz coming in, and the pass is up for grabs. It is incomplete, intended for Sammy White. And pressure put on by Brian Cabral, the linebacker.
They put the little blitz on there, and I think he got his hand on Kramer's arm just as he threw the ball, and enough to deflect the pass, and so that it had no zip on it. It was up for grabs there for anybody to catch. It was in the area.
So LeCount comes back in for the Vikings. Terry LeCount, 6th in receiving, but he has 2 touchdown receptions, and they flood the left again. 6 defensive backs, and they too flood the side. 2nd and 10 at the 25. Brewer, the tight end in motion. And out of the shotgun, the pass is caught by Brewer, who was crossing over from tight end. He'll be short of a 1st down by about 2.5 yards. It'll be 3rd down.
They about flanked from the backside with the big blitz, and you may notice that the Bears are not running their people on until the last second to change their defensive alignment, so that the Vikings can't count on what they're doing defensively.
And this is part of that inside game we knew it would happen with Armstrong, the former Viking assistant coach, and Bud Grant. These clubs know each other so well, they try to change things. 3rd and 2 at the 33. Hartenstein in there is the 5th lineman. Quick release. LeCount incomplete. Terry Schmidt is watching Terry LeCount Kramer looking for an interference call, but will get none of that, so it'll be 4th down.
I think the ball ricocheted off of LeCount before Schmidt made the hit. Now here's Terry Schmidt, has to cover him one-on-one. The ball hit him right there in the arm, and then Schmidt makes the tackle. Good call. The Vikings will be forced to punt.
And this is one of these games in which the defense comes off and says to the offense, see if you can hold it.
Yeah, do something with the ball when you get it. Okay, I got you.
Fisher is back at the 20-yard line. Punting is Coleman with 4:37 to go in the 3rd quarter. And a long count. They have plenty of time, though. High snap. Decent kick. Fisher at the 21. Gets to the 31, and that's all.
And I think it was Mike Singletary, his own man, who made the tackle on that play. But the Chicago Bears have the football.
John Swain makes the play. So the Bears offense is on the field. The defense has really gotten them where they are right now. NCAA basketball next Saturday. NFL football today and next week. On Saturday, the Minnesota Vikings against the Detroit Lions. But for the game to mean a lot to the Vikings, they've got to overcome the Bears this afternoon. The Lions are in a struggle with the Green Bay Packers, who play New Orleans next Sunday in New Orleans, as the drama builds, as the NFL on CBS coming to the end of the season. Week number 15 next week. It all starts with the NFL today. Quiet Bud Grant on the sideline. What a great job he has done year in and year out, no matter what the material. They've had a transition, and they've come back and won the division last year. Contending here, but the Bears have it 1st and 10 on their 31-yard line. And a play action, and down he goes. Avellini is hit by McNeil, who is coming in along with Randy Holloway. 4th sack, Johnny.
It came right from the backside to the way the screen was going to go, and Avellini turned to throw out there on the wide receiver screen, and there was Freddie McNeil, number 54, right in his face. The Vikings playing some pretty good defense of their own.
They sure are, and there you see the tail end of that play, and McNeil all the way here.
There he is, number 54, and Avellini knew there was only one thing he could do, was cover up.
2nd and 15 at the 26 with 4 minutes remaining, 3rd quarter. Payton up the middle. Studwell and Blair make the tackle. So it'll be 3rd and long yardage now, as Avellini waits for the play to come in, and Robin Earl comes in with it, number 81. Payton has rushed for about 95 yards. So he's 5 yards away from another 100-yard effort.
Now Payton is up in the slot, so he is likely to be a receiver here down the field and across.
And the Vikings are looking at him there. 3 and 12, 3rd and 12, and on a draw play, Suey busts forward, and Suey is short of a 1st down. Gets to the 39-yard line. Jeff Seaman makes the play, but the Bears are short, and Bob Parsons will come in to kick the ball away.
This reminds me of the old days of Woody Hayes in Ohio State. 3 yards and a cloud of turf.
That's what it is. So here's Parsons, who has kicked 2 out of 3 inside the 20-yard line. He has just done the job, pure and simple. Eddie Payton back there, the older brother of Walter. Payton at the 25 had some room and gets to the 35-yard line. Brian Cabral makes the play. So Cabral has done very well in place of Otis Wilson this afternoon. A 37-yard punt by Parsons and a 10-yard return by Eddie.
And for the first time in a long time, the Vikings are going to get the ball, have some decent field position. Let's see how they handle it. They don't have to operate from under the goal line.
And they're going to come out with 3 wide receivers as Tommy Kramer comes out. Tommy Kramer needs 1 touchdown pass to tie Fran Tarkenton's record of 25, which he established twice. 1st and 10 at the 35 for Minnesota. LeCount to the left, Rashad and White to the right, and Brewer, number 82, in motion out of the eye, out of the shotgun, and we have a whistle and a penalty marker down at the 35, and it apparently is against Minnesota illegal procedure.
Offense.
5-yard penalty against the Vikings. Penalties have hurt him today too, John. Here are the standings once again. Minnesota tied for first. Keep in mind that the Vikings, if they win 3 games, they still need a Tampa Bay loss to win it. Detroit, if they win 3, they'll capture the Central Division. Tampa Bay, if they win their last 3 games, they too capture the Central Division. But Detroit and Green Bay locked in a tough fight today. In the other game we're watching closely. First and 15 at the 30. Ricky Young in there.
Well, they had the shotgun on the last play, but they're back up normal now.
Kramer getting some time. Brewer, and almost intercepted. Doug Plank diving for the loose ball, and many of Kramer's passes today, and I don't know why, John, as a former receiver, you may know, are not even anywhere near the receivers.
Well, that time, I don't know how to answer that. He's just not throwing as well as he could, but that time he had Brewer. Campbell was covering Brewer down the field man for man, and Plank was down to cover, was the free man.
Is it
and we almost had a collision, and it was one of those situations where Brewer almost got killed.
Is it the running of a pattern? Are they not breaking them off?
No, I don't think it's that. They're getting covered well.
Second and 15 now, 30-yard line. 2:22 remaining third quarter out of the shotgun again. Kramer to Sammy White. He's got that. Short of a first down to the 43-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 2 now for the Vikings, but a better spot than they've been in. So Tommy Kramer.
Sammy White had a good situation. Number 54, Cabral, will be the coverage man, a linebacker downfield as they went into the deep zone. And White just bounced off the coverage man, who was Cabral. You see 54 trying to cover a wide receiver. Of course, he was only covering him to that depth. If White had gone down the field, then there was Gary Fensick downfield to pick him up deep.
Cabral with Atlanta, Baltimore, Green Bay. Speaking of Green Bay, the Packers leading Detroit in the third quarter. Things are getting anxious for the Lions. Rams continue to lead the Giants 7-0 in the third quarter.
There should
Third
be a
and 2, penalty marker down. Pass is complete to Sammy White, but the penalty marker down, and I believe one of the Vikings moved, unless he was drawn off, and we'll wait and see. It's a big penalty call here. It's against the Vikings.
Yes, the Vikings didn't set for a full second before the snap of the ball. As Brewer, they had 2 men shift, one off the line of scrimmage, one to the line of scrimmage, and you have to be set for 1 second before the snap of the ball. Now you can see Brewer on the left, but it was the outside man that didn't get set in time.
Jerry Markbright.
Illegal motion, offense, 3rd down.
3rd down. The Vikings have been sabotaged by penalties throughout this game. As you look at the Cardinals leading New Orleans, 25 yards, 5 penalties, but they've come at bad times. Philadelphia with a touchdown lead over Washington. That game is at halftime. San Francisco, they've already clinched, leading Cincinnati 14-3. Steelers are hoping for a Cincinnati loss. New England, Miami tied, third quarter. Right here, it's 3rd and 7 at the 38-yard line. Brewer in motion. Shotgun. And Kramer drills it. And there might have been some bumping, and there was. Terry LeCount was hit.
Terry Schmidt, number 44, bumped into the LeCount before the ball got there. I think that's going to be the call.
And look at this Bear crowd. They are silent to a man. Automatic first down. LeCount got hit with the ball headed toward him, and Gary Fensick from Yale pleading his case.
Defense.
It's on Schmidt, but Fensick is pleading the case, and if you want anyone to do it, Fensick's the man.
I think Fensick is arguing that it was away from the play. Let's take a look at the call here. Top right corner of your screen, you're going to see number 44, Schmidt, right there with the collision with LeCount. And I believe that Fensick was saying the ball was already passed before he hit it.
I think it was a good call. 1st and 10 at the 42. The crowd doesn't. Penalty flag.
Ranieri, number 73, may have moved too soon.
Vikings are out of sync.
Offense.
The Vikings are out of sync, particularly when they go to that shotgun, I've seen.
The Bears are moving around and changing their defenses so much that they've got the Vikings just completely kind of rattled. They just don't know how to handle it.
False start, number 73, offense.
It's Ranieri, as you pointed out, Johnny Morris, as we're going to take a look at it
right
again.
Right side of your screen, just to the right of the goalpost there. There, he makes the move a little bit too soon, and another mistake.
Good point about the Bears trying to confuse the Vikings. That's the game within the game aspect we have in this long-time rivalry. 2 wide receivers to the left, 6 defensive backs for the Bears. Fisher and Bell. 1st and 15. And the pass is caught by White. And he's close to a first down. Gary Fensick hit him hard, but Sammy White, the 3rd all-time receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, may have a first down for the Vikes, who trail 3-0.
The Bears had that one covered, but you're going to see 25, Todd Bell, fall down and slip. As Kramer threw into the double coverage, you'll see 25 in the picture. He fell down at the last second right there, or he would have had an interception. And but White was left open there, and it's going to be very close for a first down. But the Bears had it covered, got a break. The Vikings did.
Bud Grant is 28-1 against the Chicago Bears, so he's had things pretty much his way, winning 20 of 29 games. White with 4 catches for 50.
So we have a first down. There's a fan out there.
Well,
that's it.
Well, you know, all these fans want to do, besides spoil it for everyone else, is to get some sort of attention. So maybe we just won't give them that kind of attention. It'll be a first down for the Vikings, getting back to the game at the 32-yard line. 1:44 remaining as Dallas opens it up against Baltimore, 27-6 in the 2nd quarter. Dick Stockton and Johnny Morris here in a pivotal game for that man, Tommy Kramer, and the Minnesota Vikings. And the Bears lead at 3-0 on a field goal by John Rivetto from 29 yards out toward the tail end of the 2nd quarter. That's been the scoring in this game, believe it or not. And we're still not ready. Green Bay Packers now with a 21-10 lead over the Detroit Lions. Green Bay at New Orleans next week, and we could very well have a 4-way tie for the NFC Central Division lead. You'll see Green Bay, New Orleans, preceded by the NFL Today, plus Philadelphia, Dallas, Chicago, and Oakland next Sunday on CBS. 1st and 10 at the 32 for the Vikings. Flooded to the left side, as you see. Ted Brown, penalty flag. Brown runs for an apparent first down, but let's wait and see what the penalty marker is. It's holding again against the Vikings. And the penalties have ruined the Minnesota Vikings anytime they've had any offense generated today.
They had a lot of penalties going into this game. I believe they had 92 penalties into the game. The Bears had 95. As Bud Grant, it seems very calm and cool and relaxed, but you know that he's got to be a little bit upset. I can always tell when he's getting excited because he chews that gum fast.
Number 73.
Well, Ron Yary has been guilty of 2 costly infractions, and that's the penalty story. Minnesota with 7. It'll be 1st and 20 now. Back for the Vikings on the Bears' 42-yard line.
That's the situation that the Chicago Bears like on defense, to get you in that long passing situation, because the Bears have allowed only 44% completions on 2nd or 3rd and long situations.
Kramer is 12 of 22 for only 105 yards. Well below what he's used to. Kramer in trouble. Pass caught by White. Good juggling and a good play by White, getting into the 30-yard line. He'll be short by about 8 yards as Todd Bell, who is one of those hard hitters from Buckeye Land, makes the hit.
And boy, Doug Plank came up there afterwards. Actually, Sammy White fell down and got up, and then you're going to see him make the catch, and then number 46 will come flying through the air right here and just really put the shot on him, and he actually hit Todd Bell, his own man. But Sammy White made the catch. In that Green Bay game, Lynn Dickey threw to James Lofton for that touchdown to put Green Bay ahead 21-10.
2nd and 9 at the 31-yard line. White caught 6 passes last week. He's got 5 so far today. At the 31, Kramer under siege, and the pass is caught by Terry LeCount as Henderson fell down, and LeCount gets inside the 5 to the 3-2. Henderson fell down, and LeCount beat him.
Reuben Henderson lost his footing. He was there on the coverage. That's twice that's happened. It's really fortunate for Minnesota. You'll see it as Hampton gets there too late, and you're going to see Reuben Henderson just fell right there, number 20, and LeCount was left open. Bob Brewer down there trying to make the block, and they're down almost for the touchdown.
A 27-yard pickup, and the Vikings are on the threshold, and that's the end of the third quarter with the score. The Bears 3 and the Vikings nothing. We'll be back with the start of the fourth quarter after this word from your local station.
Monday, the CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Toyota, who invite you to review the 1982 Toyota Starlet at your local Toyota dealer. Oh, what a feeling to drive a Toyota. The Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by the Twin Action Norelco Rotatrack Razor.
Start of the fourth quarter here at Soldier Field, Chicago. Dick Stockton and Johnny Morris. The Vikings are threatening to take the lead. They have first and goal at the 2. Bears have brought in Steve McMichael, Hartenstein, Lee Coons, the linebacker. Dave Huffman, a lineman. And Brewer, the tight end. Fumble! I think the Vikings recovered, but they lost a couple of yards. Tommy Kramer picked up the loose ball alertly, and it's still Minnesota ball, but it's second and goal.
Boy, he just barely got it. It was an alert play by Kramer, because you can see Hartenstein and Campbell almost beat him to the ball. Boom, right there. Good hustle by Tommy Kramer to maintain possession, as the Bears now bring in 3 backs and Brian Cabral, figuring that the Vikings will now go to the air rather than run so much.
Well, they haven't run successfully. Last week, as you pointed out, Brown carried 11 times for 28 yards. Brown so far has 29 of the 30 yards that the Vikings have on the ground. 3 wide receivers will count, and now they're going to call a timeout. So the Vikings, at the start of this fourth quarter, are using one of their 3 remaining timeouts now. They're not taking any chances, John.
First charge, timeout, Minnesota.
So we're going to take a break with a timeout by Minnesota. We have completed 16 seconds of this fourth quarter. The score stays the same. Minnesota trying to take the lead. Catch Bud smiling. That's CBS, but I don't know if Bud ever smiles. Certainly not right now as he talks to Rashad on the sideline. Second and goal at the 3-yard line. They may be talking about a future pattern they have in mind. Right now, the Vikings are trailing 3-0, trying to take the lead. Sammy White is the lone split man off to the left side. Young and Ted Brown, 2 tight ends are Huffman and Brewer. Ted Brown doesn't make it, and it is Hartenstein. Mike Hartenstein stops Ted Brown short, and it'll be 3rd and goal. So we may see a goal line stand by the Bears for a team.
Hartenstein is the last man here. Nobody really blocks him as he comes nice down and makes the tackle at the line of scrimmage. Nobody blocked Hartenstein, number 73.
They had first and goal at the 2, then they lost 2 yards. It's now 3rd and goal at the 4. Hartenstein comes out. Perrin, the linebacker, number 51, comes in along with Jeff Bishop. So they are really taking him up. Kramer, touchdown. Ahmad Rashad. And just moments ago we saw Bud Grant talking to Rashad, who has caught the touchdown pass to put the Minnesota Vikings in front.
A nice pass by Kramer. Terry Schmidt, 44, jams him, is right with him as they're going across the line, but the pass comes in right there to the inside, and there was nothing that Schmidt could do about it. Kramer hit him right on the dime, right in the stomach. Ahmad Rashad for the touchdown.
7th touchdown reception of the year for Ahmad Rashad, the all-time Viking leader. And for Kramer, he has tied Fran Tarkenton's record of 25 touchdown passes in a season. Dan Meyer attempting the point after. Heath Nord holding. And the kick is up. It's good. And Minnesota, after all this time, finally gets on the board. And it was not easy. So we have a lot of time to go in this one. Stay close because of the importance of it. Minnesota, however, leading the Bears now 7-3.
Start your football day with a complete look at all the sports news, college and pro highlights. It's America's most watched pregame show. Sundays, it's the NFL Today.
The Vikings leading 7-3 here at Soldier Field. The Bears have not thrown a pass to a wide receiver all day, and maybe they'll start now.
Ken Marjoram caught 10 passes against the Vikings the last time these two teams played. Has hardly seen the ball since then as you look at Emery Moorhead back there to receive the kickoff.
Emery Moorhead will be at the 10-yard line. And Dan Meyer will kick off as you look at that drive.
They're going to be kicking against the wind, and Dan Meyer can kick him pretty high, so he's liable to field this ball at the 15 or 20-yard line.
Marjoram, you pointed out, with that great day earlier against Minnesota, came into this game leading with 33 receptions for the Bears, and of course he's trying to chase Harlan Hill's rookie record as a wide receiver of 45, which he set way back in 1954. Still has 3 games to go, but hasn't done anything yet. They kick it on the ground on a squibber, and it's picked up there by Moorhead at the 15-yard line, and Moorhead gets to the 28-yard line. Well, we've been watching that Detroit-Green Bay game awfully closely today, and now for an NFL Today report, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Dick, the Lions have just scored after this Packer touchdown. Dickey 15 yards to Lofton, but again, Billy Sims is in the end zone. So the lead by the Packers now is going to dwindle to 21-17 if Ed Murray is accurate. Again, Sims has just scored. Back to Dick Stockton.
Touchdown pass from Avellini. And so we have so much going on, Johnny Morris, in the Central Division of the NFC, and we know the fans want to know what's happening in Detroit at Green Bay. We got action happening simultaneously as Vashnagel, a 72-yard play from Avellini.
Just a hitch and go. The fake of the short pass from Avellini, and he was long gone as John Turner went for the fake. And Vashnagel all the way down the field. Nobody could catch him. Touchdown, Chicago. The Bears have the lead. And Turner, his face has got to be red today because he really went for the hitch. He went right up for it.
Vashnagel will hold for Rivetto. And the 3rd touchdown reception for Bryant. And the 1st reception by a Bear wide receiver this afternoon. And Chicago, dramatically and stunningly, have come back. Penalty marker down. Let's wait and see. It's going to be against the Vikings, and it will be declined by the Bears. And so, on the very first play following the kickoff, Avellini hit Brian Vashnagel on a sideline pattern, 72 yards for the touchdown, and the Bears have dramatically regained the lead over the Vikings, 10-7.
Yeah, you lock at the top of your screen. You have to wonder if Turner thought he had help deep because he came up so quickly for it. And Vashnagel was all by himself, and there was no way that anybody else was going to get there to make the tackle. Kurtnoff had no chance to get him.
Well, that's what happens when you go up top once in a while. The Bears have regained the lead, 10-7, 13:06 remaining in the 4th quarter. Brian Vashnagel from Ohio State started his career with the Bears as a cornerback, and people have been wondering why don't they throw to him more. They haven't looked to him in recent weeks.
Well, he caught more passes when he had the broken wrist, but he's got to be happy now that he's got himself a long bomber. They talk about Vashnagel can't get deep. He got deep on that one, 72 yards for a touchdown.
And because of the penalty after the play, they mark it off for the kickoff, and so Rivetto will boot it from the 40-yard line. Plenty of time to go, and we've had more action in about a minute than we've had through most of the game. And kicking from the 40, and with the help of the wind, Rivetto kicks it almost out of the end zone. So it'll be a touchback, and the Vikings will take over 1st and 10. And, Johnny, I think the kind of game we have now is that we're maybe ready to see the aerial show.
I think the Vikings will definitely not try and make the running game go now. I think Kramer's going to go to the air, and they're going to try and move the ball down the field. That's what they do the best. As you look at the Green Bay-Detroit game now, 21-17, 3rd quarter, Billy Sims scored for Detroit.
As Brent reported, as we were seeing, the Green Bay touchdown quickly told us that the Lions had come closer. 21-17, we'll watch that closely. 3 wide receivers for the Vikings. 1st and 10 at the 20. Shotgun, Kramer, has some room. His pass caught by Sammy White. A first down at the 41. White has deceptive speed, but he showed some moves in getting open right there, and the Vikes have a first down.
The Bears went into a 3-deep zone that time, and White did the right thing. He went down there and stopped between the zones. Kramer was forced to go forward in the pocket and throw on the run. Now watch right here. As he cuts back in there, he sees a 3-deep zone there, and he just stops right in there and takes the pass.
First and 10 now at the 42-yard line for the Vikings. 12:25 to go, fourth quarter. Vikings need this win to stay in the race. The Bears acting the spoilers at 3 and 10. Kramer has time. Pass is deflected, and Cabral trying to grab the interception. And a deflection. Hampton might have gotten in there to get a piece of it, but in any event, one of the Bears did. Incomplete. Chicago has put on terrific pressure on Kramer all day, and Tommy, who has good percentage going, 170 yards for 16 completions, 1 interception. He also has a touchdown pass, but he hasn't really been in rhythm as the Giants have taken the lead over the Rams 10-7 in the fourth quarter. And the Cardinals running away from Bum Phillips and the Saints 24-3. Second and 10, 42. Kramer's pass to Rashad, fights to get the first down, and he's short just by a little bit. Terry Schmidt defending on the play. They're very close, however.
Ahmad Rashad always looks so relaxed when he plays football. Down, even when he's running, looks like he's going slow motion. It's just such a fluid football player.
San Francisco over Cincinnati 14-3. So that's an NFC-AFC battle between two outstanding surprises this year.
And the NFC had a 2-game lead over the AFC going into today's actions, 22-20.
Ricky Young.
Big play.
Back in the game is the up back, 3rd and 1 at the 49. First down and more for Ted Brown at the 44-yard line. So Minnesota keeps possession as Al Harris and Doug Plank make the tackle on Ted Brown, who went into this game needing 46 yards to go over the 1,000 mark for the first time in his career, and only the second Viking player to do it. And he is getting awfully close. He is short right now.
I think he has 30 yards so far.
First and 10 at the 44 for Minnesota. Bud Grant. What's he going to do when they go indoors next year? No more cold. Brewer, the tight end, is way outside to the right. And LeCount is inside. The pass to the other side to Sammy White. Caught. And a first down. Gary Campbell defending on the play. White has had to make a lot of diving catches on the outside patterns today, John.
He had Rashad going straight down the field, and you're going to see Campbell having to cover out there on Sammy White. That's a pretty tough job for the linebacker to get out there as White went to the outside and Rashad cleared the zone.
So another first down for Minnesota. They're at the 33-yard line of the Bears. White now has 7 catches for 99 yards. He caught 6 last week. So he's on a hot streak.
Now they have White as the fireman to the outside with Rashad in the slot.
And LeCount wide right. Fisher and Bell, 6 defensive backs in there. The blitz is foiled and the pass is overthrown as Reuben Henderson is defending against Ahmad Rashad. Henderson did a great job against Jefferson. He's had some tough ones to watch this year, and he has come through virtually every time. Look at this score.
Washington 15-13 over Philadelphia, fourth quarter. The Redskins going into that game were 5-8, Philadelphia 9-4.
You know, Dick Vermeil gets his club up whether the opposition is tough or easy, and it's tough to see a Vermeil team at this stage lose 2 in a row. They're in jeopardy. Second and 10 at the 33. Bears lead it 10-7 on the big strike from Avellini to Basnagel. And here comes the blitz. And Kramer is hit, but LeCount takes he's out of bounds. LeCount is out of bounds at the 25, and tremendous pressure as the Bears were blitzing. And Osborne came in and just about got to Kramer as Kramer got rid of the ball.
That was a great play by Kramer. The pass was incomplete, but he did a heck of a job because as soon as he got the ball, there were 2 or 3 Bears, and the blitzers were right on him, and he only could give it an arm throw, and he got it there. Now you want to see somebody staring you in the face? Here they come. He looks up, and here come the Bears. There's Jeff Fisher, 24, There was Jim Osborne, and he got the ball off.
3rd and 10 at the 33. Bears are showing a blitz again. And Bears are coming in. They had a game gone with their lineman that passed Sammy White. And they call it a completion. And a first down at the 20-yard line. Sammy White has been open. That's his 8th reception of the day.
And Kramer made the play. The pocket surrounded him. He came forward, took the 2 or 3 steps forward, which allowed White to find that open spot, and he didn't hook out. He hooked in. Todd Bale thought he was going to hook out, and there it is. He made sure of the grab. Todd Bale, 25, makes the tackle.
And a graphic example of how a good receiver can turn a defensive back inside out, and that's what Sammy White did to Todd Bell. 1st and 10 Vikings. They're moving the ball the way they like it now, quickly and through the air. They're at the 20-yard line of the Bears with 10:20 to go in the 4th quarter. Single back is Ted Brown, but Brown trying to get away. Still going. And now driven out of bounds by Gary Fensick. Talk about resiliency. Ted Brown showed it there.
Yeah, he earned those few yards that he got. He gave it all he had. He took a shot from Todd Bell there. Somewhere along the way, along that run, it was a punishing shot that he took, and it just straightened him up, and he kept on running. Ted Brown, who plays hurt. He's been hurt a lot. He's had a knee problem, a lot of little hurts, but he is a player that has gotten the reputation now of being able to play hurt.
First-round draft choice in his 3rd year from NC State. Hartenstein comes in now. 4 down linemen, 2nd and 8 at the 18. Brewer moves back in to wing back. Kramer pass is intercepted. Fisher. Jeff Fisher has picked it off. And the Bears have stopped the Vikings again on a clutch play by the rookie from Southern Cal.
They were going for the quick slant. This ball would only win about 5 yards. It was going 100 miles an hour. And Jeff Fisher did a great job of taking it with the hands. He bobbled the ball, got it, interception. Chicago's ball as Tommy Kramer was trying to beat Terry Schmidt with Ahmad Rashad again on the quick post.
So the Bears are playing a brilliant offensive game today. They are superb, and the big strike by Avellini gives the Bears the lead by 3. We'll be back.
They upset the Cowboys, made turkey of the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. Saturday, the Detroit Lions face the Minnesota Vikings in a fight for the playoffs starting at 3:30 Eastern with the NFL Today, Saturday on CBS.
But the Vikings have their work cut out for them right here.
Here's another look at that play. You're going to see it come right into your front room. Jeff Fisher, number 24, will leap up as Kramer was trying to hit Rashad, 28, beating Terry Schmidt, and nice juggling catch by Jeff Fisher. The Bears have the ball.
That is Fisher's 2nd interception of the season. The other rookie, Henderson, picked one off for his 4th. And Tommy Kramer now with 21 interceptions on the year. 1st and 10 at the 25 for the Bears with 10:01 remaining in the 4th quarter. And they're leading. Marjoram in motion. On a draw play, Walter Payton. Penalty flag down as Payton gets to the 31-yard line. Jitterbugged his way for a good 6. Scott Studwell, the linebacker, makes the tackle.
Holding against Chicago.
Bears have not really been penalized that much today, certainly not at key times like the Vikes. Walter Payton knocking on the door of 100 yards. Last week, of course, Thanksgiving Day against the Cowboys, 179 yards against Dallas. That's what he needs for 105.
Holding, number 79, offense.
It's Emmanuel Sanders, the right guard, who blocked for Walter Payton at Jackson State, former New Orleans Saint. Caught the eye of Dick Stanfill, the Bear assistant, and Sanders is with Chicago now.
One thing that is interesting, it appears that maybe Bob Avellini has won the starting quarterback job for at least the last couple of games of the year.
Pitch out to Payton, nothing doing. And maybe a loss on the play. They get back to the 15. James White makes the play. So the Vikings are showing tough defense against the run themselves right here. They used to be a 4-3 team, and they tried the 3-4 as an experiment in preseason against Atlanta, and they have gone with it. They have not had enough pressure on the quarterback, but their defense against the run hasn't been all that bad. So it's 2nd now and 20 at the 15.
This is the situation for the Bears this year where they have been the weakest, 2nd and 3rd and long.
Draw play to Matsui. Loose ball. Seaman came up strong. It'll be 3rd and at least 20. So Avellini, who's 3 for 6 for 84 yards, 72 of them to Bashnagel, is not about to really take a gamble, I would think, here as Bash comes in.
Bashnagel comes in with the play. They're sending the plays in.
Marjoram, Bashnagel, and Watts are in there as 3 wide receivers. Suey carried for the 10th time. He has 60 yards in the game. One of his better efforts. Nickel defense for the Vikings. Too much time. Delay of the game. So that'll set him back another 5.
Delay of game, number 7, offense, 3rd down.
So it'll be 3rd and 25.
3rd and 25. What do you do on 3rd and 25 on your own 10? I'll let you call it.
Well, I won't do much. I'd be conservative right now because I have a lead with 8:30 to go. If I'm the Bears and my defense is playing a good game, I wouldn't do anything fancy. Does that make me a good coach or what? I wouldn't please the crowd, John.
Well, the Vikings, excuse me, Dick, the Vikings are going to get good field position now.
Mark Mullaney makes the tackle on Walter Payton. The Bears are really putting pressure on their defense and relying on them to pull this game out, leading 10-7 as we wind down to 8 minutes to go. Parsons kicking from his end zone. It's not likely he'll kick inside the 20 now, is it? Eddie Payton moving up.
If he does, he'll be all world.
A lot of people think he is anyway. Payton at the 45. He may get something here. 38-yard line. Jay Hilgenberg, free agent, whose uncle used to play for the Minnesota Vikings. Wally Hilgenberg, linebacker during the Viking heyday when they were winning consistently. 43-yard punt by Parsons and a 17-yard return by Eddie Payton. And so, as you point out, a good field position. Don't forget, next Saturday, the NFL Today starts it off. And then the Minnesota Vikings against the Detroit Lions as this heated up NFC Central race goes on. 2:30 Central time. Bud Grant will be there. Hope you will be too. 1st and 10 at the 38. Kramer, quick pass. Rashad fighting for the 1st down. Close to it. He has it, I believe. Terry Schmidt knocked him out of bounds. They're so tough on those short patterns, John.
This is it. Down just a little turn in, and then he got Terry Schmidt one-on-one, number 44 against 28. And he gets the 1st down, Ahmad Rashad. But as you know, they went to the well once too often with Rashad, and Fisher made the interception.
So Ahmad Rashad in his 9th year. A year ago, he had 50 catches and was the leading receiver. Now he came in with 48. Now is 52 and is 4th on the team. Kramer, short pass off the fingertips of Ted Brown. Incomplete, so it'll be 2nd and 10. Clock shows 7:30 remaining in the 4th quarter. Bud Grant, who brought the Vikings back to a division title and the loss to the Philadelphia Eagles in the 1st round of the playoffs, would like to see Minnesota get there again, but he's got to win his games. Armstrong concerned about other things. His future, maybe, as Marchibroda ponders the play next time the Bears have the ball. 2nd and 10 at the 26. Hartenstein is in. Brown hit by Osborne. Osborne has played a very quiet but solid game. A tackle, and he won't let Ted Brown get out of his clutches. And Ted says, why is he holding on to me? I've not seen a flag. And Brown with 38 yards and 16 rushes.
And the Green Bay Packers have now taking a 28-17 lead over Detroit.
Wild game in Green Bay. Harlan Huckleby with his second touchdown run of the game.
And here is a big play for the Vikings.
3rd and 8 at the 25. 6 defensive backs. Tommy Kramer in trouble and down. Jim Osborne once again. What a game Jim Osborne has played, and the men who are old in the tooth, Page and Osborne, the tackles, and the second sack of the ball game.
Kramer tried to go forward in the pocket again, just couldn't quite get out of the grasp of Jim Osborne, the veteran of this football team. He, along with Bob Parsons, been here longer than anybody.
See Hampton go over and say, way to go. Greg Coleman will punt from the 45, and so the Vikings had great field position. They started at the 38-yard line and gained only 6 yards, and the clock may start becoming a factor now. And the ball drops out of bounds at the 4. Make it the 3, and a great kick by Coleman.
The Vikings figure what's good for the goose is good for the gander. This time the Bears will have to operate from deep in their own territory.
There's our score. It was 3-0 at halftime on a field goal by Rovetto after a lot of wild stuff early. A fumble, an interception, a fake field goal and a run, a goal line stand, and no scoring in the 3rd quarter. In the 4th quarter, Kramer hit Rashad from 4, and then the big shot Avellini to Bashnagel. Next Sunday, the Packers, who are beating the Lions, are in New Orleans against Rodgers. The NFL Today starts it all. Walter Payton gets out to the 9. Jeff Seaman, one of the 2 inside linebackers, makes the stop, and Payton maybe over 100 yards. 2nd and 4, gain of 6. So Walter Payton with 102 yards has gone over the 100 mark. 4th time this year, and the 8th time against the Vikings in 14 games. Gets to carry now, and is stopped at the 10. So it'll be 3rd and short yardage for the Bears. I'll tell you one thing that's gone unnoticed. The Vikings' defense against the run in this latter part of the 4th quarter has been terrific.
Actually, the Vikings defense has been terrific in every aspect. The one big play there with Bashnagel. Otherwise, the Vikings defense has done a real job on the Bears offense.
Walter Payton, who had coming off his best day against the Cowboys, goes over 100 again. But right now, it's 3rd and 3. Bashnagel, wide left with 5 minutes to go. Brooks Williams, number 83, tight end with Robin Earl. Avellini, Matsui. He's not going to get it. And it'll be 4th down as Matsui is stopped by Scott Studwell.
It's very close, very close.
Let's see where they spot it. That'll tell a lot.
They're going to have to make a measurement.
You know what? If they miss it by inches. It looked at first glance as if Suey had been stopped. And you can see how important this is to the Minnesota Vikings, who are huddled around. 4:46 remaining. They got it. 1st down. A big play. So Matsui did get the 1st down, and the Bears keep it going.
Everybody keyed on Payton on that play, and Suey had a big hole on the other side, and they closed it up in a hurry, but not before he could get those 3 or 4 yards.
Clock running, and you know the Bears are going to try and use as much of that as they can. First and 10, the ball at the 13. Bob Avellini, Johnny says, maybe has regained that starting role. The Vikings used a timeout at the start of this 4th quarter. The Bears still have all of theirs. Mullaney makes the tackle as Bashnagel comes in with the play. 4 minutes to go as Bashnagel tells Avellini to play. 2nd and 7 for the Bears on their 16-yard line. Bears looking for an upset, leading 10-7. San Francisco romping over Cincinnati 21-3. Walter Payton gets to the 21-22-yard line. It'll be 3rd and a couple for the Bears. But they're putting themselves in good position and really eating up the time. Matt Blair, the tackle, as we have under 3.5 minutes remaining here in the 4th quarter.
This is actually the Bears' best bit of running for the entire game because of the fact that the Vikings know they're not going to throw the ball, and the Bears are trying to eat up the clock, so they're playing the run, and they're really jamming everything up, and the Bears are able to get 2, 3, 4 yards a pop. So here's another big one, 3rd and 2.
Vikings are now going with a 4 linemen. Up front, Mulaney, Martin White, and Holloway. Mike Cobb comes in, 2 tight ends, and the Bears use a timeout with 3 minutes to play. So the Bears use one of their 3 remaining timeouts as Bob Avellini goes over to the sidelines to talk to Marchabroda and Armstrong. It's 3rd and 2, and again, we'd have to say, John, that that's not a bad timeout to take because a Chicago first down on this play will bode very well for them.
Yes, it would. Another first down would put the Vikings into a situation where they'd have to use a couple of timeouts. They'd have the 2-minute warning to stop the clock once, but this is a big one. There's no question about it. As you look at the Bears, Ken Marjorum's in there on that. He's got a few suggestions. As you look at Neil Armstrong, Bob Avellini out of the University of Maryland, now in his 7th year for the Chicago Bears. Been on the bench most of the time the last 3 or 4 years.
We've got a lot of football action coming up next week on CBS. Saturday with the Vikings against the Lions. Sunday with the Packers, who are beating the Lions at New Orleans. Part of our doubleheader next week. And it all starts with the NFL today. And you're seeing some great football on CBS this year. And I think a big resurgence by the NFC, John.
Yes. I think that their discussion is whether they were going to try maybe and go wide, possibly with Payton, rather than hit those 7 or 8 men right up there in the middle of the line of scrimmage, take their chances and go off tackle.
3rd and 2 at the 21. 3 minutes to go, 4th quarter. And Walter Payton stopped. He lost the yard. Doug Martin, who was late reporting last year as a #1 draft choice, had some help. Studwell and Blair in there also. And Tommy Hannon gets up from the bottom of the pile. So good defense by the Vikings and a clutch play for them with 2:42 remaining, 4th quarter, and they'll get their hands on the ball again.
They saw Walter Payton heading for the right side, the right end, and they all went the same way Walter is. You go where Walter is, you usually go where the ball is.
Bob Parsons will kick from the 6-yard line. Eddie Payton back at the 30. Good kick by Parsons. Sends Payton back practically to the 25. He slips and falls at the 32-yard line. A big break for the Bears. Dashnagel put the seal on Eddie Payton. And so, if you want to talk about Tommy Kramer, who has engineered 2-minute drills in just about every game the Vikings are in, he's going to have to do it right here with 2:08 remaining in the 4th quarter. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Vikings on their 33-yard line, following a 52-yard punt by Parsons.
I think they counted up how many games he's won in the last 2 minutes for the Vikings over the past couple of years, and it totals out to 7. That's pretty good. That's what you call a clutch quarterback, and he's on the spot now because the Vikings' chances for the NFC title rest an awful lot on the end of this ball game.
St. Louis 30, New Orleans 3, final score. 1st and 10, 33-yard line here. Kramer.
Uh-oh.
Rashad. Rashad has it. Inside the 40, still going. Ahmad Rashad is tackled from behind, and a fumble, and the Bears recover. Reuben Henderson, big play Bears. From disaster to glory for Chicago. Fisher made it work.
An unbelievable play as Todd Bell. Rashad gets behind Todd Bell. He'll shake the tackle here with just a super effort as Bell. A really rather sloppy tackle. But then here comes Jeff Fisher to pull that ball out, and down it goes. And there was Reuben Henderson for the recovery. The Bears had the ball back on the 3-yard line, but they've got the ball. Unbelievable play. Here it is. He grabbed the arm and jolted the ball loose, and it was Reuben Henderson, number 20, who picked it up, Chicago's ball.
The heroes for the Bears, among many, are the two rookie defensive backs, Fisher and Henderson. They each have interceptions. They were part of that big play. The 2-minute warning, and we'll be back in a moment. That's our story. The Bears with the ball and the lead, and the big plays, many of which have gone against them this year, going for him today. That last one was a 52-yard pass and fumble. Avellini, 1st and 10 on the 4-yard line, and you know what the Bears are going to do. They're not going to take any chances. Suey, off right tackle, no gain.
The Bears need 1 first down. If they get 1 first down, the football game will be theirs. The Vikings have used one of their 2 timeouts. They can stop it once more, then the Bears would run a play, and the Vikings would probably get the ball back with about a minute 10 to go, if they stop it.
We have a final score. Miami defeated New England 24-14. So the Dolphins keep alive their hopes in the AFC Eastern Division. They went in tied with the New York Jets, a half a game ahead of the Buffalo Bills. But the Bears are a minute and 50 seconds away from pulling an upset. But for those who know the Bear-Viking rivalry, you know, I don't know if you can call any game between these teams an upset. What's going on in Detroit and Green Bay, John?
Well, John Stenerud has kicked a field goal. So Green Bay now leads Detroit 31-17 in the 4th quarter. So it looks like the Packers are going to be 7-7. Detroit's going to be 7-7. Minnesota has a chance to be 7-7. And then Tampa Bay and Atlanta is the other game. And look at next Sunday. That game becomes a big one now if the Packers win. The Packers at New Orleans. Of course, Philadelphia, Dallas, we know that's going to be a dandy. And then Chicago and Oakland, we hope that's going to be a dandy.
Well, we'll be there. Whatever it is, we'll be there, John. And it'll give the Chicago fans a chance to see the Oakland Raiders and what's happened to them this year. Super Bowl champs. 2nd and 10 at the 4-yard line. 1 timeout remaining for the Minnesota Vikings. To the 7-yard line, Matsui, as the clock continues to run. Kurt Knopf. And the Vikings have called their last timeout. So Minnesota out of timeouts, 1:43 remaining in the 4th quarter. It is 3rd and 10. So now Avellini has to go to the sidelines, and now the question is, for the Bears, they're obviously not going to try and put the ball in the air back there. They're going to have to rely on their defense. And the Vikings could have some good field position to engineer another one of their late rallies.
Okay, now that's actually a 3rd and 6. 3rd and 6 situation, Dick, and I agree with you. They wouldn't throw the ball. They're just going to try and make the 6 yards, probably go a little bit wide and not go out of bounds.
Well, tonight on CBS starts with 60 Minutes, and then it's Archie Bunker's Place, and One Day at a Time. Stay tuned for Alice and the Jeffersons, followed by Trapper John M.D. It's all tonight on CBS.
You'd have to guess that they would go off tackle or wide in the hopes that Peyton can break. That's where his best chance to get 6 yards. Now, if it was 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1 or something like that, you might stay inside.
Bob Avellini back in the huddle. 6th-round draft choice 6 years ago from Maryland. Not played in a regular season game coming into this one since '79. Maybe playing in more. That's what he's done today with a big touchdown pass to Bashnagle. 3rd and 7 at the 7-yard line. And Suey, bursting forward to the 11-yard line. He'll be short, and it'll be 4th down with the clock continuing to run near a minute and a half remaining. Suey a little slow getting up now. And it's 4th down, and Parsons will come in and kick. So it's going to come down to this. It's going to come down to Tommy Kramer's ability to move the ball and get the Vikings in. Don't forget, they only need 3 to go into overtime.
Let me tell you this. The Washington Redskins have upset Philadelphia 15-13. Redskins win.
So as a result of that, the Dallas Cowboys will move out to a 2-game lead over Philadelphia with a win over Baltimore. Eddie Payton. The clock ran out, another delay of the game penalty, and now we have 55 seconds to go.
Delay of game, number 86, offense, 4th down.
So Payton moves up to the 45-yard line. So what's going to be key on this punt will be the coverage by the Bears.
That 5-yard penalty was a little bit more significant in this case because it puts Parsons back in the end zone. He's going to be a little bit more hassle to get that ball out there, which means the punt's liable to be more of a line drive shot.
Keep in mind the Vikings have no more timeouts. Oh, Parsons is going to take the safety. Parsons takes the safety to make the score 10-9.
I never even thought about that.
Good thing the Bears did. And so now there'll be a free kick. And the Vikings will get the ball on a free kick. And so what the Chicago Bears decided is that they didn't like the field position setup for a tying field goal or a winning touchdown. They decided here to take the safety, take a 1-point lead, and then let the defense have some breathing room with 48 seconds to go and no timeouts left for Minnesota.
Not bad thinking. I wish I'd thought of it.
Well, that's why you're up here.
And they're down there, huh?
And I think you'd rather be up here.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it works out.
So that is a safety to make the score 10-9, and that was the score Thanksgiving Day, but the other way around when Dallas defeated the Bears by that tally. So the free kick. And so now he can understand the reason for the delay of the game.
Right.
Because they got some more time off. Now Payton will be at the 25-yard line, and Parsons can punt it away as he will do here. Eddie Payton, the man to watch, 5th in the NFC in kickoff returns. This is a free kick with 48 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Now a field goal for the Vikings would win it, but the Bears don't expect the Vikings to get into that position. Ball bounces off of Payton inside the 20. He can't find it, and the Bears recover it. Jeff Fisher has picked it up for Chicago. Boy, that rookie has played a brilliant game for the Bears, and that just about seals it.
Well, there was no excuse with all the men that you have on the football field on a free kick that somebody wasn't able to catch that ball on the fly. And then it took the bounce, and Payton had trouble with it. You see, Payton is back deep, but they should have had another man who was able to catch a football who would come up and grab it. Then Payton tries to get it on the go here. He loses the ball. Jeff Fisher, number 24, hustles in there, and the Bears just out-hustled him on that play.
I would give Jeff Fisher one of the game balls in this game for sure. Maybe Reuben Henderson would get one as well, and several of the men up front. The defense earned it. Jeff Fisher, the 7th-round draft choice from USC, and one of the top punt returners in the league, doing his job as the nickel back and the 6th back today. So with 42 seconds to go, Avellini, who came in and got the job done with a big touchdown strike, 72 yards to Brian Bashnagel, and so Bud Grant has the headset off, and he's got to think about another day. So the Lions are being shocked by Green Bay. Not so much a shocker, I guess, if the Packers are game out, but this one has to hurt the Vikings.
Yes, it does. They had beaten the Bears 6 out of the last 7 times, but not on this day, as the Chicago Bears have won this football game.
Neil Armstrong hasn't had much to smile about this year, and I'm really happy for him that he's got a bright moment here. Toward the end of the year, the clock runs out, and the Chicago Bears have defeated the Minnesota Vikings 10-9 for the 4th win of the year. But more important for Minnesota, they dropped to 7-7 in the NFC Central Division, and that could just muddle things even more as Avellini engineered the club. The final score, Chicago 10, Minnesota 9. The executive producer of NFL football, Terry O'Neill. Today's senior producer, Charles H. Milton III. Today's game was produced by David Winter and directed by Larry Cavallina. So the Chicago Bears send the fans home happy here before a sellout at Soldier Field. The Bears end a 3-game losing streak, and now the Vikings have lost 3 in a row. And what was once a 2-game lead for Minnesota and looked like a cushy situation now turns into Panicsville, perhaps. Next Saturday, CBS Sports will start your day at 12:30 Central. NCAA basketball, the Warriors of Marquette against the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. And the NFL today kicks off a special Saturday broadcast, the Vikings and the Lions. 3-0 was the score at halftime. Rivetto with a 29-yard field goal. And then the Vikings took the lead as Kramer hit Rashad from 4 yards out. And then the big play following the kickoff, Avellini to Baschnagel, 72 yards to make it 10-7. A clutch play. Fisher had an interception. And the big play may have been the pass to Rashad with Fisher and Henderson getting the ball back.
Right, and the big play as far as the game was concerned was just the overall play of the Bears defense. Kept the Vikings in check for most of the game. The Vikings finally started to come out, but it was too late.
All right, Dick Stockton for Johnny Morris.